Part 195. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1945. It takes a genius to remember the address of this website in 1 second, fastest update. No ads? Don't worry, I'm not that intolerant. I'll go and upgrade my game character's body to a medium-level game character later. It only uses energy, not much. I'll use it to fight better in the future. If it goes smoothly, it will be worth it. Yeah, sir, they are far-sighted, they will definitely lose. No, this is far-sightedness. I just want to end this game as soon as possible. Jia Yan doesn't care at all about Addis's flattery, and he doesn't accept it. However, he was thinking that this game was about to end. Judging from the situation, he should have a chance to collect all the energy he had in this game, but there were several other purposes, but they were not available yet. Well, after the game is over, I can ask those little star-level guys. Jia Yan made up his mind and wanted to ask where the energy came from, and he also wanted to know how to control the characters in the game. These are the core secrets of the company. Generally speaking, the other party should not tell them. But for Jia Yan, if he wants to know, the other party will definitely not dare to keep it secret. Of course, Jia Yan said that the little guy didn't dare to compare with how old he was. After all, he was a genius. There must be many geniuses in the center of the galaxy, but they were definitely not that common, so it is still unclear who is bigger among those stellar operators. No one in Jia Yan's Earth civilization knew about the news that outside civilization would come to besiege him. Everyone continued to live a happy life. In particular, some couples have openly started exchanging real addresses. For couples who are willing to exchange addresses of real people, the problem of men and women is not that big. Although in the end it is very likely that due to different races, different strengths, different sizes, income, personality, and other reasons, it will be impossible to get together in reality, but at least this is good. Only those who ask the female party, or the female party asks the male party to hand over the address, but the other party cannot hand over the address, are a bit sad. If you can't hand over your address, the problem is too big. For example, they may be game characters controlled by the brain, or their real identity is the same gender as the other person, or they may be sick or have other unspeakable secrets. In this way, scenes of drama began within the Earth civilization. Jia Yan rarely saw so many things in war. Although he had experienced many wars in the past and found out about the parents of many soldiers, most of them were tragic or profound things that he had never seen before. In the war, there is also a battle with entertainment effect. This may be the fun of the game. Looking at those people who are either let go by the female partner or the dub by the male partner, or they tell the other party frankly that they are of the same gender, just for fun, or that he likes the same sex, and the two parties start to great wars and the like. There are many tragedies and many comedies, and Jia Yan watched them with relish. Sir, a 5-year civilization that is relatively close to ours has come to us. This civilization can be regarded as a relatively powerful civilization in this game. It can be regarded as a mid-level civilization. Although we have absorbed a lot of the resources of some civilizations, but in terms of overall strength, seem to be quite far behind them. One day, when Jia Yan was getting more and more energetic and exploring the situation in this game, Edisha came to report. I see. Do you think we can't beat him? Then avoid him and find someone easier to deal with. When Jia Yan heard what Edisha said, he didn't think too much about whether Edisha's judgment was inaccurate, so he chose to believe it. Although Edisha's judgment may not be better than that of Jia Yan, at least it can be done well by comparing the strength of the enemy and ourselves with data. Jia Yan knows that Edisha's judgment is definitely based on calculation. He used his own game character to explode with the same fighting power as before, but he couldn't beat the opponent's calculations, so he dared to come to him and tell him the conclusion. As for Jia Yan using his real body, that was definitely not taken into account, because Edisha knew that Jia Yan would never use his real body. If he had to use it, he would have used it long ago, and the game would have been over long ago. When Jia Yan chose to trust Edisha, the Earth civilization's spaceship suddenly took a long detour when it was still a long way from the civilization of those 5 years and the other party had not yet discovered the location of the Earth civilization. This is the advantage of asymmetric intelligence. Edisha can choose her own enemies. In this way, a large group of enemies were bypassed by Edisha. Although those 2.5-star level beings issued a strangulation order to the Earth civilization, not many civilizations actually followed the order. Even if they come, they are not completely wholehearted, so the circle is not large. In addition, the spaceship in the game is not as advanced as the real spaceship after all. A large area of hundreds of millions of kilometers is enough for the Earth. Wenming expected the enemy to take advantage and fled to a safe place. Therefore, the Earth civilization does not have to worry about too many battles in this area. There is even a civilization that has detected the Earth civilization from a distance, but because it is very close to another civilization, it is afraid that it will start a war with the Earth civilization. It would be attacked by someone, so it just let the Earth civilization leave. Haha, these civilizations are quite interesting. They are still a little different from reality. After all, it is a game. Jia Yan spent a lot of energy exploring the surrounding starry sky in the subspace. Within 100 million kilometers, for a mid-level galaxy creature, although it is impossible to see everything clearly in detail, it has been roughly grasped. A large number of civilizations gathered here, but people in the Earth civilization did not know that only Edisha was controlling the flight of the spacecraft, and at the same time accelerating the changes and improvements of the battleship and spaceship. At the same time, Jia Yan's body was also devouring the harvest of the previous civilization. Finally one day, Master Jia Yan, there is another 3-year civilization over there. I feel like we can win this time. Then go over and attack them, but we have to be quick, otherwise we will be unlucky. Okay, then I'll start selecting people. Editha suddenly reported the news to Jia Yan one day, and then, with Jia Yan's authorization, the Earth civilization once again began mobilization and preparation for war. Because the distance was still far away, the other party did not notice Edisha's spaceship. But lovely Disha started a charge ahead of time to seize the right to speed up. Then, when the Earth civilization appeared in front of the other party's field of exploration, the other party's civilization reacted belatedly and extremely shocked. Kill. Jia Yan didn't pay too much attention to the difference between the 3-year civilization and the previous 2-year civilization. He drove his battleship and rushed out of the Earth civilization's spaceship. Then the next war broke out in an instant. And what made a large number of surrounding civilized spaceships that received the signal from this starry sky a little frightened was that the battle ended very quickly. In less than half an hour, with the help of Jia Yan's subspace talent, those 3 years of civilization were suddenly wiped out. The fighters within the Earth civilization also contributed a lot, perhaps because of fighting several times, their quality has become higher. At least their cooperation with Jia Yan has become very smooth. Of course, this improvement in literacy means that compared to the original group of laymen, it has become less of a hindrance. If Jia Yan had to choose, he would naturally choose a group of warriors inside the Orion arm to help him fight. Of course, nothing unexpected happened today. Earth civilization, after experiencing a great war, has returned to peace again. Lord Jia Yan, we may still have about 2 days to snatch resources. If it exceeds 2 days, a group of civilizations will surround us, and we may not be able to defeat them. Well, it's okay, just 2 days. Let everyone go out to collect resources in these 2 days. Although it is impossible to collect all the energy in 2 days, at least most of it can be collected. Jia Yan communicated with Edisha again. Next, players within the Earth civilization were a little confused. After this war, the Earth civilization seemed to be driven by something. The master, urged everyone to collect quickly, and even gave a lot of rewards in order to speed up the process. Terms. Ever since, there has once again been a gluttonous feast within the entire Earth civilization. Professional players were naturally working hard, even non-professional players, because the commission this time was so tempting. Everyone stopped falling in love and joined the competition to collect supplies. After 2 days, Editha kept her word. Under the eyes of a large number of players who didn't understand why, she ordered everyone to return to the spacecraft and escape from the place. When the two surrounding civilizations that were more than 5 years old found this ruined land through the weak signals during the battle, they only found the remains of the 3-year civilization like leftovers. This, then Earth civilization, does it have an alarm system or detector that is more powerful than our 5-year civilization? It's impossible, we are a 5-year civilization. Forget it, don't think about these small details. The other party has a civilization with a half-star level existence. Even if there is something terrible, it is not something we can imagine. If a half-star level existence is so easy to deal with, those two adults will not let a group of us civilized people come over to do this. That's right, then you have to be careful. The people they killed this time were actually 3-year-old civilizations. I'm even afraid. If after a while, they absorb the energy of these 3-year civilizations, they might dare to attack the 5-year-old civilization. Civilization attacks. How is that possible? It is said that the civilization has only been in the game for less than a year. How dare you attack a 5-year-old civilization? You wouldn't dare to absorb more. The dialogue between the two major civilizations is like a big face at the speed of light. It only took about 10 days. 10 days later, this elusive Earth civilization appeared behind the 5-year civilization among the two major civilizations. He made a surprise attack on the civilization of the past 5 years at the speed of light. And the battle is also extremely fast. In less than an hour, a 5-year civilization with nearly 10,000 warships was completely destroyed. This 5-year civilization has perished. Next, do you dare to attack an advanced civilization that is more than 7 years old? I don't believe it. It's incredible. Can a star and a half-star existence actually have such a terrifying influence? In less than a year, a nascent civilization has caught up with an advanced civilization in one fell swoop. It's incredible. If this game reaches an advanced civilization, each one has its own advantages. It may be defeated by another conflicting civilization in an instant, or it may wipe out a 10-year civilization in one go. It all depends on the conflict and the situation. Played. After a group of civilizations learned about Earth civilization and actually wiped out a 5-year civilization in one breath, they suddenly had a more noble definition of what they originally thought was an elementary civilization. Although the opponent is definitely not at the level of a high-level civilization now, it is definitely possible to fight with a medium-level civilization, and even have a chance to defeat it. If we wait until the Earth civilization absorbs the resources of the previous 5 years of civilization, then the problem will be even greater. It is very likely that the Earth civilization will directly catch up with the high civilization by attacking two medium civilizations in a row. It is also the most powerful civilization in this game. Of course, the civilization where those 2.5-star level beings are located is excluded. Because they have their own existence, the advanced civilization they are in is many times more terrifying than other advanced civilizations. And the civilization on Earth has also reached a higher level and is equal to them. Hurry up, we have to stop this from happening. With 2.5 stars, we can at least reach the 3rd place. But with 1.5 stars, we won't even be in 3rd place. I can't rush forward. I don't care about that much. 3.5 stars is what I want to see. Haha, we are only a medium civilization. We have never thought about reaching the 3rd place. Nowadays, it is impossible for the Earth civilization to stop us. I would like to see how 3.5 stars will eventually become a kind of what a scene. The last ruler of a middle-level civilization spoke in an open-minded way. But his open-minded attitude did not bring them good luck. Because just after the 5-year civilization was swallowed up by the Earth civilization, about half a month later, this medium civilization actually encountered the Earth civilization. At this time, the Earth civilization is like a giant wolf that can devour the world, eyeing the middle-level civilization with great jealousy. It didn't take long for the 6-year-old medium-level civilization to have little resistance. Under the leadership of Jia Yan, who helped the game characters upgrade to level 15, they were wiped out in one fell swoop. Haha, 6 years of medium civilization have been wiped out by us. Now, we have finally reached the highest point in this game. High civilization. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1946. For players in Earth civilization, this gaming experience almost overturned their gaming lives. Because each of these players, when they came to this game, thought that they were extremely lucky to be selected to become a game player of the Earth civilization. After all, this game is still quite popular, and everyone needs to participate. Only when you reach the quota can you enter the game. It's just that this Earth civilization has entered the game too late. The chances of the civilizations coming in later to become a big civilization are definitely much smaller than those of the previous civilizations. They are all ready. After entering the game for a period of time, it becomes a failed game civilization in this universe. But what they never expected was that within this Earth civilization, there would be an extremely terrifying strong man. This strong man's strength was actually reflected from the very beginning, leading them from an unknown new small civilization to in one breath, he rushed to the ranks of today's almost advanced civilization. You know, advanced civilizations are generally more than 7 years old, but what about their Earth civilization? It has only been less than a year since I came to this game. Not only the improvement in status surprised the players in the Earth civilization, but more importantly, in a series of battles, the Earth civilization seized materials and made a group of players gain a lot. Many players have even started to buy houses in real life, because this game experience has made them make a lot of money. Of course, this is not a surprise to Jia Yan. A small person has been changed by him for a lifetime, which is nothing to a galaxy-level existence like him. Even if some people have their lives changed because of a top strong person, for galaxy-level beings, they have become accustomed to it, because every time they travel, they will change the lives of little people, or the weak. This is the life of the strong. Rights are also some kind of privilege for the strong to control the right to kill others. The Earth civilization kills another interested civilization. This is like a bolt from the blue to the civilization of the entire starry sky. It makes many civilizations realize that the civilization is no longer what the intelligence said at the beginning. So it's simple. Even if they do not rely on that half-star powerhouse, they can destroy a civilization that is close to an advanced civilization, which means that they must have a certain degree of combat effectiveness. When they digest the resources of that civilization, they will definitely become a member of an advanced civilization. An extremely terrifying member, even because there is 1.5-star level beings, he has become one of the 3 top civilizations on par with the civilizations that have the 2.5-star level creatures. Alas, we can't beat him. We won't participate in this hunt. That's right, we can't beat it anymore, so we quit. The climate of this Earth civilization has become so bad that our ordinary civilization will definitely not be able to fight against them. Many ordinary civilizations, such as low-level civilizations and intermediate civilizations, have begun to withdraw from this siege. They have no choice but to retreat, because since the Earth civilization can destroy a medium civilization, then when encountering them, the low-level civilization will definitely be wiped out in one breath. The medium one is not powerful, and it will definitely take a certain amount of effort, and it can be destroyed, unless it is the kind that is close to advanced civilization. The moment it sees the Earth civilization, it starts to escape, and there is still a certain chance of escape. So they can't leave. But among the remaining civilizations, there are still some that are close to advanced civilizations, or exist as advanced civilizations. They refuse to retreat. Some advanced civilizations don't want to give up their third-place position because of their good strength. Some are not so powerful because they can't live up to their reputation. Moreover, the two semi-star civilizations are also suppressing them from behind, so that they dare not escape. Moreover, today's Earth civilization is still not a climate. They feel that even if they are allowed to use their full strength to participate in the wolf pack tactics, it is still possible to wipe out Earth civilization. Be careful. Earth civilization should be devouring the resources of that civilization now. If we encounter one, tell everyone as soon as possible. We still have a chance. Yes, as long as we see the shadow of Earth civilization, we still have a good chance of surrounding them and attacking. The departure of those low-strength civilizations is not only not a bad thing, but a good thing for us. They were all there before, and it was so noisy that we couldn't explore properly. Now that they have left, we advanced or nearly advanced civilizations come and explore. You can explore them quickly even if there are less people. In the starry sky, most of the large number of civilizations disappeared in an instant. But the remaining great civilizations are still large scale. There are 12 civilizations left to look for Earth civilization, 6 of which are advanced civilizations and 6 of which are close to advanced civilizations. The other weak ones have left this starry sky and gone to other places to avoid the war that will definitely happen this time. Many small civilizations are even thinking that maybe the war here will involve the two half-star civilizations. After the war is over, no matter which half-star existence is left to the end, they will escape. Anyone who wins will most likely end up in second place. This is the survivor concept. Of course, other civilizations are not ignorant of this truth, but they also have reasons to stay. All in all, this is a game, but it also reflects people's hearts. Large areas of battle scenes and detection instruments are exploring the starry sky. Master, there are at least hundreds of thousands of warships and a large number of civilizations in this starry sky. We are being monitored by them. Don't worry about it. After getting the resources that are close to advanced civilization, I think my body can be greatly strengthened, so let's slowly devour them. If they really find us, then I will gather them together in one go. It's not a big deal to destroy their civilization and pocket their resources. If the conversation between Jia Yan and Edisha was heard by the operators of this game or other civilizations fighting against the Earth civilization, they would definitely be stunned and feel a little speechless. They thought that Jia Yan was just playing a game, but from the beginning to the end, this being had no intention of coming over to play any games. Playing cards according to the cards without making any mistakes is Jia Yan's motto. If the enemy really pushes the Earth civilization to a dead end, then well, if he comes out in his true form and the normal game methods are not available, a galaxy-level existence can easily succeed, right? If they knew Jia Yan's idea, several star-level beings in the operator might cry. Of course, Jia Yan has also become somewhat interested in this game, not to mention that everyone has been playing together for so long. He does not want to let the dreams of those players who rely on Earth civilization to buy houses in their hometown come to nothing. After all, they have spent a lot of money. Civilization, which has only been played in the past year, can rely on normal means to achieve final victory, and Jia Yan will not be so cruel. Okay master, I will use the Edissa to detect signals from the outside world. If I discover any civilization, I will tell you. Okay. Edisha returns to the Edisha. Since the enemy has become a high-level civilization, their ability to cover their tracks has also improved. Although the Edisha is a relatively large backpack battleship, it is not specialized in combat after all, and its detection capabilities cannot be compared with serious battleships. This is true even against these high-level civilized warships, so it is a bit difficult for him to detect the true addresses of so many civilizations without attracting the attention of others, especially the operators. But after all, it is a powerful backpack from the outside world, and the Edisha is still somewhat capable. Time gradually passed, and in the dark and huge starry sky, the Earth civilization devoured the supplies that were close to advanced civilization, and the good news came from the Aditha. Sir, an advanced civilization has been discovered nearly 9 million kilometers away from our starry sky. Higher civilization? Haha, very good. I haven't seen high civilization yet. Let's go over and see it. Jia Yan heard what Adisha said and immediately cheered up. What cheered him up would naturally not be anything about game civilization, but the fact that he would soon get new energy to mutate himself and truly complete this matter. And Jia Yan is also thinking that this game farce, as well as the mutation that he has been delaying for a long time, should be over. Yes, it's almost time to put an end to this game life. He murmured to himself. Toot toot. In the Earth civilization spacecraft, the alarm began to sound. Ah! Is this an enemy encounter alarm? Why did we just absorb almost the resources of the previous civilization, and we actually encountered another civilization? Our Earth civilization has too many enemies. Every time we finish devouring it, other enemies appear. It doesn't stop at all. It's so tiring. Although I am a professional gamer, this kind of tiredness is actually money, but it is so tiring, I really don't want to do it anymore. No, we will definitely win the battle, haha, so isn't it a good thing to have enemies? I am also a professional player. I just recently earned money for a small house by selling resources in the game for a year, ha 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 ha, for me, the more fights, the better. I am married to a wife, hee hee. According to me, it is best for our Earth civilization to win this war game in one go. Then I don't have to worry about my wife's life in the next 10 years. Within the Earth civilization, the crew members, except for being a little surprised at the beginning, are not worried at all about this war. In their opinion, the enemy encountered this time should not be too powerful. After all, in this game, the most common civilizations should be the low and middle civilizations. Last time, we encountered a civilization that was close to high. How is it possible that we will encounter a stronger civilization again? This is not a novel, how can it be so dramatic? Change. But these players may not have thought that although this game is not a novel, it has already been arranged. That's right, it was arranged by the master of their civilization and the strong man they admired, Lord Jia Yan. So, when the Earth civilization quietly approached their next enemy, another advanced civilization, they saw countless battleships and huge spaceships. There was still only 10,000 people inside the Earth civilization because there was no time to expand. The number of players above and below was instantly stunned. Holy crap, this is really an advanced civilization. Tens of thousands of warships? Oh my god, how can we fight like this? The number of battleships is greater than the total number of people in our civilization, and most of them are mid to high-level battleships. This must be a high-level civilization. Such a civilization can survive for a while even if it goes out to fight against some weaker real civilizations, but it actually wants us to deal with it? It's over. This time I feel like there's going to be a problem with our Earth civilization, and we can't beat it. Fight, we still have to fight if we can't beat them. Besides, they seem to have just discovered us. We still have a chance. Yes, our civilization has discovered them a long time ago, and we have been prepared for war. They seem to be unprepared. We should win. On the Earth civilization side, a group of players first changed from shock to some belief. After all, the Earth civilization has grown to its current level in a year with a legendary winning streak. Deep in their hearts, even if they encounter a more powerful enemy, they still have the belief to win. Listen, everyone, in this war, our Lord Jia Yan should no longer be able to directly rule the whole place, so there will definitely be pressure on you. My request is that you don't kill anyone. Our Earth civilization has relatively few manpower. One will die and one will be lost. I still want to wait and let everyone follow my footsteps and compete for the first place together, so do you remember this? Remember, when the Lord Master, who was transformed into Edisha, mobilized about 1,000 battleship players on the high platform before the war, he directly spoke of the possible crisis of the Earth civilization. Losing, in Edisha's opinion, was absolutely impossible. Edisha is very clear about the Master's character. He is not someone who sticks to trivial matters. If he loses later, he will definitely use his own body and brainwave power to kill the enemy's master in one breath. Therefore, it only requires that players within the Earth civilization not suffer too many casualties. Part of the reason is that these subordinates are really good at using them, and the other part is that they are really emotional. After all, we have been together for a year. The dominant being that Edisha transformed into had even sat down and drank with several captains and higher status combatants, and even had a love relationship with a female player, although in the end as a result, Edisha didn't understand what love was at all, so they broke up. But with these things, Edisha seemed to become more like a real person, so she didn't want these good friends to die. Even if it's just a game death. 1 second to remember Aishang Novel Network. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1947. Okay, let's start fighting, while this high-level civilization doesn't notice us, huh? Not good. Edisha didn't even finish her words, but her expression suddenly changed slightly. As a role player controlled by the brain, as a master, he usually has no expression, but now there is a slight change in his expression, which shows how surprised he is by this shock. What's wrong? Lord Master. Did you get any more information? Tell us quickly. The subordinates almost all have unconditional trust in Edisha, just like they trust Jia Yan. Each of them has unconditional trust in Edisha's abilities. Because under Jia Yan's ability, Edisha's performance in this year or so has been extremely outstanding. It can even be said that in terms of logistics, her performance is not much weaker than Jia Yan's. After all, without strong processing power, the rapid progress of Earth civilization over the past year would be absolutely difficult to digest. Nowadays, because of Edisha's ability, Earth civilization is in order, and there is no possibility of being dragged down by the rapid pace of progress. Some people even still doubt that Edisha is also an extremely terrifying strong person. Otherwise, how could she possibly be able to play with Mr. Jia Yan? She looks like someone she has known for a long time. They are not in the same circle and it is almost impossible to play together. That's right. However, later on, after some insinuations, they discovered that Edisha really didn't seem to know much about cultivation, so their doubts on this point became much less. But the more this happened, the more they recognized Edisha's abilities. He has no fighting ability, but he can still play with Master Jia Yan, who is at least half a star. They are old acquaintances. What does it mean? It shows that Lady Edisha is really talented. Ever since, at this moment, it was the first time they saw Edisha showing a hint of surprise, and each of them knew something was wrong. As expected, Edisha didn't hide it from others and spoke solemnly. There are actually 3 advanced civilizations hiding around this civilization. They are probably here to cause trouble for us. Even I haven't found out. This method and scheming are still very clever. Edisha was a little surprised that the other party actually used some tricks. This was a very good performance for a game. Of course, this is also because the Edissa cannot use its detection ability too blatantly. How can a mere game civilization escape its detection? But now, if it is not detected, it is not detected. Edisha feels that she should reflect on it. Don't worry, Lord Master, please tell me the opponent's distance, position, and approximate combat power. Suddenly, a still low voice made everyone present recover from slight panic. In an instant, everyone became calm because of this voice. Because this voice comes from the most outstanding warrior of this Earth civilization, and also the supporter in everyone's heart, Lord Jia Yan. Master Jia Yan's voice is like the deep magnetic voice of an earthly man. It is very pleasant to listen to. As soon as he speaks, it seems to have a kind of magic power, making others calm down instantly. Editha also recovered from her slight gaffe, smiled slightly at Jia Yan, expressed her apology, and then continued to report on the spot the information she had just obtained through the Editha. I just got the information about these guys from the intelligence machine. There are 4 civilizations in total. One of them is a civilization close to an advanced civilization that we are targeting, but the other 3 are genuine advanced civilizations. It's hidden in a mining area not far away. According to our combat power, it is almost impossible to win against them. After all, if we really want to fight, it will be a bit difficult to deal with one advanced civilization. If we fight 2, we will lose. If we fight 3 advanced civilizations, we will lose. Coupled with a civilization that is close to advanced, defeat is certain, even possible, and you cannot even escape from the opponent's palm. The information given by Edisha was extremely accurate, and even the analysis of combat effectiveness was very certain. Even it knows that Jia Yan's combat prowess is definitely more than what he shows now, but many of his strengths cannot be revealed in front of so many players or in front of so many strong game operators. Therefore, if Jia Yan had the kind of strength he had shown previously, it would be almost impossible to defeat the 4 major civilizations in front of him. Then let's escape. A captain said very solemnly. It's no longer possible. We just rushed over with great momentum. The 4 enemy civilizations have now locked onto us. Our spaceship is no faster than theirs. It's even slower. We can't escape. Suddenly, the large number of players in the entire venue became dull, and the air was so thick that you could hear a pin drop. If we say that when we first joined Earth civilization, everyone didn't have too many ideas. Many people even thought that even if they died at the beginning and the game was over, it would not be unacceptable. But now, everyone is game. Attitude is no longer dispensable as it was at the beginning. Many players have found their spouses here, and most of them have sold out the resources of Earth civilization and gained a lot of benefits in reality. If they leave like this, who will make up for their losses? No one wants to die, at least most of them do. Then what should we do? We can't win, and we can't run away. Are we being plotted this time? Oh, this is the disadvantage of not having an alliance. Our small new civilization can actually challenge so many civilizations alone like this. There will definitely be a day like this. What should we do now? The house in my hometown is just like this. After paying less than half of the price, I still thought that our Earth civilization would be one step closer, and then I could pay off the entire house in one go. Ellie, I love you, can you tell me your real address? No matter how far away I am, I will find you. Even if I spend my whole life, I will find ways to be by your side. For a time, a large number of players were either sad about the bleak future of their money future, or they were making true love confessions to their lovers and friends, and many of them agreed to meet in real life. They all believed that there was nothing they could do. Although the Earth Alliance was strong, it was absolutely impossible for them to resist the 4 major civilizations. However, each of these players had forgotten that their own civilization had a super strong man who often performed miracles. In this case, if you don't count on him, who else can you count on? To actually be desperate, to this player, he looks like a fool. Haha, don't worry, I have an idea. Jia Yan suddenly said calmly. In fact, no matter what level the enemy is, as long as he does not reach the galaxy level, he seems to be playing house. Even though Edisha felt that he had made a big mistake and thought that Jia Yan would be disappointed with him, he still did not a trace of any unnecessary emotion. Because for Jia Yan, this play of house does not require too much emotion. However, within the Earth civilization, there are many acquaintances he has met recently. Since these acquaintances are a little painful, then why not isn't it normal for them to solve some problems? For him, Jia Yan, what others consider important in life is just a matter of effort. So he spoke up. What's more, here on Earth, he still wants to maintain civilization, otherwise where would the energy come from? Come on, do as I say. This approach may be a bit dangerous, and some people may lose the lives of the game characters, but don't worry, even if you die, I will follow the contact address in the game to compensate you. I will make up for it, you will not suffer any losses, and then you just need to obey my orders and act. Jia Yan calmly stated his plan. Is this okay? Lord Jia Yan, do you think we can do such a thing? We're all going to die. You actually want to do this, Mr. Jia Yan, I believe you, even if you don't give me those losses, because if we don't fight, then we will definitely die, and the struggle now is what we want to do. Yes, we are also a part of the Earth civilization. Lord Jia Yan, just assign people directly, and we will follow you. A large number of players from Earth civilization were shocked by Jia Yan's words, and some even thought it was crazy. But no matter how crazy they are, they can only try. Because the spaceships of the four major civilizations, as well as the overwhelming warships, rushed out from their hiding places, it was impossible to escape the spaceships of the Earth civilization. If they don't follow Jia Yan's words, they will definitely die. Rather than being bound, it's better to take a chance. Very good, then just follow my method and carry out your own missions one by one. Combat professionals, get ready quickly. Yes. Jia Yan's order seemed to be more useful than Aditya's order, and everyone started to take action. Next, the Earth civilization's fighting response was beyond the expectations of the other four major civilizations. We originally thought that this Earth civilization would definitely run away when it saw the four major civilizations of ours appearing together. Even if it didn't run away, it would definitely not be very stable. But now we see that it is still so quiet. Not even a sign of escaping. How is it possible, this Earth civilization is so calm? Don't they have a normal mentality? They are not afraid of us. We are one of the four major civilizations, and there are three major civilizations among them. They are advanced civilizations. They are not even afraid of us. Among the four major civilizations, three are advanced civilizations. They have been chasing the Earth civilization for a long time. Two of the major civilizations are attached to a semi-stellar civilization, and the other is spontaneously encircling and suppressing the Earth civilization. In exchange for the opportunity to avoid being hunted down by semi-star civilizations in the future. These four major civilizations had long expected that the Earth civilization might have some sharp weapons to detect their civilization, so the three major civilizations were hidden in a patch of interstellar minerals, which led to the fact that Edisha did not detect them. This time the plan was successful, so the four major civilizations went out to fight together, full of confidence. They felt that this battle should be settled once and for all, and the headaches faced by 2.5-star level beings would be solved by them. In the future, he will gain the attention of two powerful players. It is said that some people are still spreading rumors that the extremely powerful pilot in this Earth civilization is not even a semi-star level existence, but a venerable level combat professional. I say no, it's possible. How could a venerable person use such terrifying driving skills? Haha, how can legends be trusted? I have also heard some versions of legends that say that guy is a strong man with more than half a star level. Ha ha ha, isn't it ridiculous? More than half a star level, then it's at least a star level, but the people who said this must have never seen even half a star level with their own eyes. They simply don't understand how terrifying and powerful a star level existence is. Ha ha ha, there are still people who really want to say that he is a star level person. It makes me laugh to death. These people are so ignorant. Why don't they say that the strong man is a star level person? That would be even more bragging. Galaxy level, ha 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 ha, it almost made me burst out laughing. Galaxy level, ha 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 ha, it is not so easy to see the galaxy level. Each of them can sit in the interstellar, even us noble creatures. I have never seen a galaxy level existence before. If they really guessed it, I would be even happier. Maybe the closest time to a galaxy level existence in this life is now. If you are at the galaxy level, those 2.5 star level adults will not have the same attitude now. If the galaxy level existence comes forward, these two adults can be blown to death in one breath. The eyes of the galaxy level adults will be glared to death. They don't even dare to say a word. How can they dare to confront a galaxy level person and still fight? Such conversations are heard from time to time inside the spaceships of these four major civilizations. The combined battleships of the four major civilizations have actually reached as many as 60,000, especially in the hands of advanced civilizations. Each of the battleships is either medium or high level, and their combat power is definitely higher than that of ordinary battleships of Earth civilization. Facing the more than 1,000 battleships on the surface of the Earth civilization, the contrast seems like a war between adults and babies. Even if there is a super ace driver among these more than 1,000 battleships who may be far beyond everyone's imagination, I still don't have the slightest idea that my side will lose. After all, the gap between the two sides was so big that even with 10,000 warships, they might have won, but they still mobilized in full force, preparing to wipe out this evil Earth civilization in one fell swoop. Earth civilization, we admire the strong pilot in your civilization very much, but we are in a relationship between ourselves and the enemy, so we have to take action against you. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1948. Now, I hope you can take the initiative to admit failure. This will also reduce the hatred between us. If you are willing, please stop running away. Yes, everyone from Earth civilization, we are extremely surprised and shocked by the speed of your civilization's progress. But this time, we used an army of more than 60,000. You did not lose unjustly. This is our respect for your civilization. With respect, you surrender. Each of the four major civilizations here has considerable strength, especially in terms of high technology. Because the civilization meets the requirements set by the game, it will unlock some skills, and even because some of the outside players are engaged in scientific research. Characters can use the characteristics of the materials in the game to develop good technologies. This is all allowed by the game content, so the more advanced the game's civilization is, the more powerful it is. Comparing it to Earth civilization, life is much less, battleships are even less than other people's, and the main spacecraft is also far inferior to the main spaceships of every civilization. This is a war that no matter who looks at it, will feel that there is no comparison. But even so, on the Earth civilization side, a group of players and the smart brain players in the game have no intention of giving up. On Now's side, because they are loyal to the game, the master in the game will not make any decisions, and Now will never make the slightest thought of resistance to the appointment of the game master, and they will even other players advise. Intelligent players are actually rare in other mid to high level civilizations, because the joining of intelligent players was originally to allow a new civilization to operate normally. Most new players are not used to taking orders from a single person. If it belongs to the dominator, then the existence of intelligent brain players is an addition to the Dominator's power. But it's different for the Earth civilization. The intelligent brain players were not dead at the beginning, and it is impossible for the game to kill the intelligent brain players inexplicably like this. Therefore, only through subsequent wars or ordinary losses, little by little less destroy the brain player, and then allow new normal players to enter the game. Just such behavior cannot reduce the number of smart brain players, because the Earth civilization is not a civilization with a high casualty rate. Ever since, in this war, Xeneo players have been on the front line one by one in their own name. Although many people knew that these were supposed to be intelligent brain players, and even some people's partners were intelligent brain players, but when they really knew their partners rushed out like this, each of them was heartbroken. Well, our group of people are the ones who started the war. Because there are not enough warships and there are not enough pilots, we can only rely on our efforts to see if we can resist all the enemies. No, those who go to the battlefield should also be careful about their own safety. Maybe we will still win this war. Edisha took a deep look at the group of people who went out to fight. She already knows in her heart that some people are smart players, and some people are normal players, so Edisha has long expected the emergence of some smart players. But some people, even he had a hard time telling whether they were smart players or ordinary players. When they walked out, they were all a little confused about Edisha. This shows how much Xeneo players pretend to be real people in normal times. Jia Yan is still an ordinary player no matter how many smart players there are. To him, as long as the war is won, it will be fine. The death of the characters in the game is like a joke to him. Even the death of real creatures seems to have no impact on Jia Yan, and it has no impact on the lives of players in the game. Let's go. Jia Yan said lightly, and then stepped onto his specially made battleship. This battleship was a battleship that Edissa analyzed and designed using Edissa's intelligence when the Earth civilization had risen to around mid-level civilization. Although the materials in the game were used and the lathe of the spaceship was manufactured with the permission of the game, which also meets the requirements of the game for a medium civilized battleship, this battleship was designed as close as possible. Everything about the design plan of the subspace ship relies on the requirement of subspace movement, especially the optimization of certain plans, and even borrowed the design of the Aditha itself. Therefore, this battleship, it can be said that the battleship that looks like a medium civilization is actually more powerful than a battleship from a high civilization. Even in the hands of Jia Yan, it is even more exaggerated. What kind of combat power it will burst out is no one knows. Puff. Jia Yan was the first to spit out the flames of his battleship, and then he drove the battleship and sprayed it out of the passage of the spacecraft. Amidst the loud noise, battleships surged out of the passage one after another, following Jia Yan's footsteps. Oh! Is this guy also controlled by Xeneo? While Jia Yan was flying, he suddenly found someone who attracted him. It was a male player. In the love disturbance that Jia Yan was more concerned about before, there was such a male player and a female player. But now it turns out that the male player is actually a player created by the brain. If the female player were a real person, she would probably cry dry by now. Technology is so advanced that even Jia Yan can't tell the difference between a real person and a dummy. I don't know whether this is good or bad for the development of technology. Jia Yan thought a lot at this moment, and even thought that if technology could create strong men, maybe most of the civilizations in this galaxy would perish. After all, the productivity and manufacturing capabilities of technology are first-rate. If what controls a civilization is just an intelligence that does whatever it takes to survive and has no emotions, probably no civilization is its opponent. Fortunately, the intelligent brains that have emerged from the development of science and technology cannot pose a threat to the real top-level galaxy-level existences in terms of force value, because this kind of technology still does not exist today, or in other words, even if it exists, it still requires a lot of limitations of terrain, etc. Jia Yan was relieved. It is estimated that it will take at least 1,000,000 years for science and technology to develop and threaten the status of the strong civilization. By then, he will definitely be dead. Even if he is not dead, he may be at the top of the galaxy, or even a galaxy-level existence. Then no matter how advanced the technological civilization is, whether it can cause death pressure on him is still open to question. It's useless to think so much now. Jia Yan doesn't even know whether he will be able to survive his time in the central region of the galaxy. Even recently, he has provoked a Domain Lord creature. It is uncertain whether this Domain Lord creature will grab his pigtails and kill him directly in the future. Thinking so much will only increase his worries. Boom boom. The battleships behind him were following Jia Yan. No one knew that in such a tense war, this big boss did not think about the war itself, but thought about going to the west. But if they knew Jia Yan's true identity, no one would probably think that Jia Yan was overthinking, because a galaxy-level being would not put his mind on a game, let alone such a big one. This guy exists and is willing to join the game, and countless people are shocked. The galaxy level is the galaxy level. It is the greatest existence in the entire galaxy. It is very likely that no one who has surpassed the galaxy level has been born in history. This shows how respected the galaxy level existence is. To participate in a game that ordinary creatures can join is something no one dares to imagine. Coming. In the distance, the 60,000 strong army on the opposite side suddenly became nervous. Although what they say sounds nice and they think they will definitely win, the strength of the Earth civilization is obvious to all, especially their strength, which has reached the level of other creatures. It is simply unimaginable that they can kill civilizations that far exceed their own strength. So, although they do not think that the civilization that can frequently create miracles will lose, they at least believe that the Earth civilization may cause a large number of casualties to their own side. Can these casualties be controlled below 5,000? Perhaps not, because the battleship piloted by the mysterious semi-star powerhouse is not something that ordinary players can resist. Especially among our players, there are not many who can freely operate battleships. Most of them are just characters who make up the numbers and fire some artillery fire. If he keeps using his subspace talent to carry out sudden battles, we will definitely big losses are going to happen. Humph, don't worry. Even if the other party is a person with subspace talent, he is using the body of a game character after all. Although the subspace talent comes from unknown sources, the body only has so much energy, and how many times can it be supported? Traveling through subspace? I don't even believe that he can persist until he kills 1,000 warships in one go and still has the strength. Yes, what you said makes sense, but what I'm most worried about now is that he will repeat his old tricks. We have analyzed it before. Several times, he used the breakthrough ability of his single ship to destroy the enemy's main spaceship in one go. The master must be destroyed in one breath, and that's why he wins every time, and I don't think he will adopt such tactics this time. I'm also worried, so I have a tactic, that is, our 4 main spaceships should all be farther away from the fighting area. Even if this means that the artillery fire of our main spaceship will be difficult to support the friendly forces on the battlefield, at least this will try to avoid being attacked. He destroyed his old nest in one fell swoop, and I believe our friendly forces will also understand us. Okay, let's do it like this. In the main spaceship of the 4 major civilizations of a group of enemies, the discussion between the masters ended. They have been the rulers for many years, and they are quite adaptable to the fact that they dominate the life and death of all players in the game civilization. Even if some of them are just small rich people in reality, in this game, they are still the same. Iron-blooded and ruthless, even if his subordinates die miserably, he still wants to ensure that his main civilization's spaceship will be fine. Because if Jia Yan uses his subspace thrusting ability again to directly kill the master of the enemy's main spaceship in one breath, then the entire civilization will die. When Jia Yan met the first wave of enemy ships that emerged, he was slightly startled. Because he felt that the main spaceships of the four major civilizations sent by the enemy actually moved back together after transporting a large number of warships. I see, these guys have known about my decapitation tactics for a long time. Humph, do you think escaping like this will be useful? Jia Yan snorted coldly. He knew that the enemy's warships numbered more than 60,000. If he really foolishly fought with these enemy warships, no matter how outstanding his warship's performance was, it would probably run out of energy during the war. Then unless he used his own body to show off his skills, he would have to fight. No one else would have piled them up to death. To Jia Yan, blatantly using the main body to cheat is like giving up. He has been playing an ordinary game for a year, and now using the main body is simply a slap in the face. More importantly, this game the operator will definitely shut down this game in an instant. Next, Jia Yan will either use force to directly seize the resources here, or he will leave, making it impossible for him to even mutate his body. Recently, Jia Yan also found out that there is a galaxy-level and mid-galaxy level existence nearby the game operation office. Although this galaxy-level being has no special intention to take care of the game operator here, the operator still gives gifts to the other party, so the original purpose of the other party is to obey the domain master of the star domain and protect the safety here. If Jia Yan dares to take action, the galaxy intermediate being may also come forward to fight Jia Yan. If it takes a long time, the other domain lords will come, and Jia Yan may not be able to escape. So Jia Yan didn't dare to exaggerate. Do you want to use the human sea tactic to drag us to death, and the main ships of their four major civilizations actually use technology that can disrupt the subspace, making it impossible for me to use the subspace talent to get close to you? Jia Yan also has a headache, but these headaches are like a small annoyance to him. He has experienced so many wars, has more headaches than this and is more exaggerated. I don't know how many there are. Of course, I won't care about such minor problems in the game. Since you are confident in your human sea tactics, let me try to see if these warships can hold me back. And whether your so-called subspace protection is useful for my newly improved warship depends on your ability. Jia Yan smiled slightly, and then he drove the battleship he controlled and rushed straight towards the large, seemingly invisible group of battleships in front of him. This is a picture of a battleship attacking a total of 60,000 battleships. Everyone was stunned by the more than 1,000 Earth civilization warships following Jia Yan behind him. This kind of heroic spirit is simply beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Although I know that Master Jia Yan is an extremely terrifying strong man, his body is just the body of a character in the game, and he is not afraid at all. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1949. This enemy is indeed very brave, but the more so, the more we have to. Everyone, even the enemies, admired this man who was the strongest person in Earth civilization. Kill. But the more you admire him, the best way to respect him is to kill this admirable enemy. Therefore, the opponent's battleship group actually burst out with extremely amazing fighting spirit. Call out! Call out! Call out! Countless battleship cannon fires lit up. Each of these upgraded mid to high level battleships has extremely good combat effectiveness. Even their main guns are no longer simple rays, but starry sky cannons with more lethal power. Although each of these artillery fires does not have the speed of light, it will cause a large number of explosions when it hits the warship. So many artillery fires attack the body, let alone the warships in the game, even if it is an outside warship, as long as it is not a strong battleship will definitely be bombarded into a pile of dregs. Each of the advanced civilizations present has experienced many wars. Even though some battleship pilots are not good enough, overall, they are much better than Earth or other weaker civilizations. But this time, their bombardment target was actually only 1,000 battleships. And there are 1,000 battleships with lower technological levels than them. In a normal battleship, this would be like using a bull's knife to kill a chicken, and it is basically an act of bullying. But this time, they were not too careless, otherwise they would not have sent out almost all 60,000 warships in one go. Because the opponent they were dealing with this time was an emerging civilization called Earth Civilization, which had recently become famous, and its reputation was catching up with the civilizations of the 2.5-star level powerhouses. The most important point is that there is a person in this civilization who is suspected of being a half-star. How dare they underestimate him? Puff. The formation at the beginning of the war here has not yet been fully developed, but the vanguard of the 60,000 warships over there, such a salvo is already the first attack. The arrangement of this battle is quite beautiful, but these attacks can only be fired by 5,000 warships at most. Among them, only 300 ships' artillery fire may be intentional or unintentional, and it will affect my back. The gunfire of more than 4,700 other warships in the fleet was aimed at me. Jia Yan silently looked at the battleships ahead, analyzing the range of the battleship's attack and the extent of the attack. There were only more than 300 artillery fires that were fired at the back, so he didn't have to worry at all that these artillery fires would kill too many of his comrades behind him. So he just had to think about his own escape. After all, even if the battleship he was driving was hit by more than 4,700 cannons, it would be fatal. This is just the body of a game character, how can it be compared with his galaxy-level body? Whoosh! The battleship piloted by Jia Yan suddenly rushed into the subspace. Sure enough, he escaped into the subspace. Hurry up and use the subspace disruptor. Of course, the four major civilizations would not ignore Jia Yan's subspace talent. When they saw Jia Yan's warships entering the subspace, the 55,000 warships that just seemed to have been too late to participate in the first salvo, there were actually 10,000 more ships, and they quickly used some unique energy technology. Buzz buzz. These warships seemed to be in contact instantly, and suddenly responded with vibrations. Then, the entire large space became distorted. The entire subspace level was distorted by them. Unexpectedly, these gamer civilizations used the resources in the game to develop weapons that distort subspace. This is indeed a civilization that has reached the pinnacle of the game. They can actually develop technological supplies that cause chaos in subspace, which really surprises me. Jia Yan was inside the subspace, feeling the chaos in the subspace, and his mind moved slightly. Although these disorders are only surface disorders, not to mention affecting the deep layers of the subspace, and even the first level space does not completely have a big effect, but after all, it is in the game, and the players have racked their brains to come up with something that will definitely make Jia Yan was shocked. This is a bit decent. It's a pity that the usage and surprise of their move are indeed beautiful, but if they want to completely trap Jia Yan's game character, it's still a bit short. Even for a game character, Jia Yan only used a little bit of cheating, but the subspace that his game character usually enters is a layer deep. It is not these chaotic machines that can cause him to fail. Therefore, Jia Yan's battleship was not forced out of the subspace. 10,000 warships joined forces, but they didn't force him out. The talent in space this time is too powerful. You must know that this is just a character in the game. His body must be able to enter at least the 5th floor. Secondary space, otherwise how could the secondary space talent be transmitted to the character and be able to enter the secondary space so deeply? As soon as they heard such an analysis from the leader of a certain civilization, the leaders of several other major civilizations suddenly felt a headache. Because in a game like this, what you are most afraid of encountering is the existence of these unique talents. Even though subspace talents are not uncommon in this area close to the center of the galaxy, they are definitely in the rare category. What's more, if you want to enter the 5th depth of subspace, you must be a being of about half a star level. Even the most talented people can't even think of going that deep. If the opponent is really a semi-star subspace talent who can enter the 5th level of subspace, then they all feel that they have made a wrong bet. The status of a being like that is much higher than that of an ordinary half-star. It's just a game. It doesn't matter if you make a wrong bet, and he doesn't believe how long his subspace talent can support the game character. The other party was preparing to go all the way to the end. After feeling Jia Yan's strength, he actually broke the pot and broke it. It was impossible to repair the relationship anyway. After all, the battle had reached this point. Can they just say that they misunderstood? Buzz buzz. Outside the subspace, the 10,000 warships controlling the subspace once again activated their chaotic devices with all their strength. On the other side, the first wave of attacks from the 5,000 warships that had just attacked Jia Yan had all failed. Only 300 to 400 guns were actually aimed at the more than 1,000 Earth civilization warships behind Jia Yan. They knew that it was not wise to snatch Jia Yan's head, so from the beginning, these warships stared at the more than 1,000 warships behind Jia Yan. Here we come. Hurry up, open the protective shield, and avoid the warships that can avoid it. Each of the more than 1,000 warships here is extremely nervous. It is impossible to say that they are not nervous. Even if Earth civilization has created many miracles, they all know that these miracles have nothing to do with ordinary Earth civilization players. They just managed not to lag behind in civilization, and then waited for Master Jia Yan and Master to pick the fruits of victory for them. Now, they will encounter the most terrifying battle since their birth. 1,000 against 5,000, not to mention the more than 50,000 behind them. They can't find Master Jia Yan, and then prepare to direct artillery fire at their enemies. Each of these battleship pilots of the Earth civilization felt tremendous pressure. In previous civilizations on Earth, they did not have such heavy pressure. But now, they finally began to feel tremendous pressure because they had followed Jia Yan all the way. After all, it is impossible for Jia Yan to solve most problems by himself every time. Boom! There was a warship in the lead. As if it couldn't escape, one of the enemy's hundreds of cannons hit the warship directly and exploded with a bang. Woods! One of the captains shouted in anger. This Woods is his good friend. He has always been like a brother when he fought before. Although he also thought that some of Wood's performances showed that he seemed to be a player in the game operating system, that is, a brain player, the captain did not care. The current intelligent brain has evolved to be not much different from humans. There is nothing wrong with a player they independently created, saying that it has an independent personality to a certain extent. So, he thought about it and turned this into a player. A good friend in the game, he regards him as his best brother. But I never expected that this brother would be killed by the enemy directly at the beginning of this war. I want you to die. The captain's eyes were red. On the Earth civilization side, there were a lot of casualties in an instant. To be honest, the captain's command just now was still acceptable. The real players either opened their protective shields to block the enemy's artillery fire, or they avoided the artillery fire. In this round of attacks, very few battleships were bombed. Among the several battleships, most are players controlled by the brain. These players controlled by intelligent brain have lived for a long time. Originally, according to the process of the program, in the process of the growth of Earth civilization, these fake players will gradually die due to various reasons. On the one hand, it allows the players to become real people. On the other hand, it is to increase the game experience of players. But in this Earth civilization, not many people have died. Xi now has been a little impatient for a long time. Now that it encounters such a good death opportunity, it will naturally lead a large number of Xi now players to die quickly. Ah, my beloved Julie. On the other side, a certain male player was almost crying and almost fainting. It seemed that the other female driver who died was his gaming girlfriend. He was about to cry to death. Kill, we want revenge. Yes, but we can't be too excited. We are small in number but they are too numerous. Let's fight and retreat. Don't be impulsive. Everyone is emotionally unstable now. We need to stabilize our emotions first, otherwise the whole army will be annihilated. A group of Earth civilization battleship pilots, to be honest, are relatively well educated in tactics. After all, they have experienced several battles in Earth civilization, and the leaders are people who have fought in reality. They began to avoid and retreated back. It's just that the enemy is chasing them faster. However, the main battlefield and focus of attention of both sides has never been such a small war zone. They were all watching the strong man who entered the subspace. He has entered the subspace. We must be careful. Subspace chaos tactics don't have much effect. Be careful if he repeats his old tricks and rushes to our main spacecraft. Yes, if the main spaceship is attacked and killed by him, everything will be over. Our main ship also has a certain subspace disruptor. Open it quickly. Even if it is not as exaggerated as 10,000 battleships, it is still possible to prevent him from coming to us and committing crimes. Buzz. The main spaceships of the 4 major civilizations were docked not far from the battlefield. There was a certain distance between them. This was because they were afraid of being eliminated by the so-called superpower in one fell swoop. They were thinking that even if the opponent was a semi-star level existence and had good subspace talents, after all, he was controlling a mere game body. Judging from the opponent's energy intensity, the strength of this body only reached level 15, that is, the strength of a primary level creature is about the same. A character with such strength cannot show the strength of a strong person at all, right? So even if they couldn't kill him in one go, and even if he used his subspace talent to kill 1 or even 2 of the civilized spaceships here, they didn't think that all the civilized spaceships present would be annihilated. Because this is just the body of a heaven-level being, no matter how strong its combat power is, its endurance will not last too long. As long as we delay for a while, the other party will collapse. Yes, drag him to death. Among the 4 major civilized spaceships present, if it weren't for the provisions in the game rules, the civilized spaceships must be nearby during the war. Otherwise, the battleship's combat effectiveness and supply capacity will be greatly reduced. At this time, they would like to turn around and run away. They believe that even if the other party can kill a large number of their own warships, the number of more than 60,000 warships will overwhelm the strong character until he has no strength. This way you can win without fighting. But now they can't do it, because to maintain the battleship's combat effectiveness, they can only stay nearby. This can be regarded as an unrealistic place in the game. Otherwise, it is just like a real civilization. When the warships are released, the main spaceship or the main planet in the lair is as stable as Mount Tai, then this kind of game would not be possible. How many years and months have I been playing? I don't know where he is. He may have come, or he may not have come. He is waiting for an opportunity to attack our warship. It's okay on the battleship side, but if we come here, we have to be careful. Besides, the opponent is a super strong man. How can he be stupid enough to fight against an ordinary battleship? It must be cost-effective to kill our main spaceship. Don't worry, we are so far apart. Even if the other party wants to come over, they have to bypass the subspace chaos area created by our 10,000 warships. In addition, our own spacecraft is always surrounded by subspace chaos machines. If this strong man wants to come over, there must be many obstacles. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1950. In the main spacecraft of the 4 major civilizations, every ruler is extremely dignified. They are urging their subordinates to carefully observe any reaction on the machine, especially within the subspace, and to be alert to even a slight disorder. No matter how vigilant you are against a semi-star existence, even if it is just his game character, you cannot be too vigilant. After all, that is a half-star. At this moment, Jia Yan, who was regarded as a mere half-star, was slowly flying towards an enemy's main spacecraft in the subspace. Oh, this game body is so funny. It flies so slowly in the subspace, if only my real body could help me. Jia Yan, the game character, couldn't help but turn around and look at the monstrous thing that seemed to be very close at hand, like a big mountain, covering a large area. This is his giant mosquito true form. In the subspace, at least in the subspace of this game, only his game character and his real body in the subspace can meet like this. It's still wonderful. Jia Yan's real body also looked at the small battleship that looked like a little thing, silently watching it in his sight, slowly, like a turtle crawling, flying past his eyes. Of course, this is called slow, because Jia Yan's real body is too powerful. If we look at it from a weak subdimensional existence, the battleship driven by this game character is still relatively fast. And as soon as it flew in front of one of the 4 enemy civilization main spaceships. Huh? How is it possible? He is actually close. When the battleship piloted by Jia Yan's game character approached the 4 main ships of the opponent's civilization, the one with the more advanced subspace detector actually detected Jia Yan's arrival. Are you here? His subspace is definitely not ordinary. He can actually pass through our chaotic space. But don't worry, our defense is not something he can easily break through. If he dares to show up, we will destroy him. The spaceships of these 4 major civilizations are each trying their best to activate the subspace jammers around them. To say that this game is still realistic, because the activated subspace jammers can really interfere with the subspace level. Strength. The distortion on the first level of the subspace is becoming more and more exaggerated. If Jia Yan's body comes over, it will naturally be easy to deal with it, and he can even flatten this chaotic space in one go. But it would be difficult to switch to a character in this game. After all, even if you cheat, you must have a certain degree of control. If you cannot master this degree, then the operator of this game will not tolerate the behavior of a strong person. I can't help but get angry, which would be superfluous. Oh! There is such a well-equipped protection, which can be regarded as a bit of a fighting spirit. Jia Yan was inside the subspace, looking at the layout of the outside world, and he also somewhat agreed with it. For ordinary game civilizations, let alone having such a formal fighting consciousness, the command system may be in chaos now. These 4 major civilizations are worthy of being the 4 advanced or close to advanced civilizations, and there is no lack of formal combat literacy. However, can this simple formal warfare capability prevent Jia Yan, who fights against the regular army every day? Impossible. Although your disordered area is very large, for a master with subspace talent, it is full of flaws. In this case, I will show off. Jia Yan smiled slightly, maybe because he had more contact with ordinary players, his mentality actually became a bit more approachable. Although Jia Yan has the potential to be approachable, as he gradually becomes stronger and stronger, his mentality is still a bit out of touch with ordinary creatures, becoming more and more like a strong man, and becoming more and more rigid. But the recent contact with ordinary weak player creatures is not only the process of Jia Yan collecting his own mutant materials, but also the process of his slowly becoming more rational. During this process, Jia Yan gradually changed from the strong mentality before to appreciating ordinary creatures. He no longer felt that he was superior. He also understood the aesthetics of ordinary weak creatures, and even learned their wisecracks. While Jia Yan was attacking, the real body was thinking about something. To be honest, he didn't use his true form to cheat too much. Apart from giving a little help to the game characters in the subspace, he didn't even help give out information now, because that would be too much. So the real body is used for random thoughts, while the characters are dedicated to fighting passionately. Puff. Jia Yan was driving the battleship on which the game character was riding, and suddenly at a certain moment, he got out of a gap in the subspace. Suddenly, his battleship suddenly emerged from every corner of the twisted and chaotic subspace. Ah! He got out. Haven't we already caused chaos in this space? Why can he still drive a medium-level battleship out? Wouldn't the protective steel of a battleship of this level be directly distorted and destroyed as soon as it encounters the chaos in the subspace? I don't believe it. He must have used some cheating method. Each of the 4 major civilizations here is shocked. Because what Jia Yan did was simply beyond belief by ordinary strong men. Even if those 2.5 stars were here, it would be unbelievable. In this vast field, perhaps only the star-level existences of those game operators will understand the rationality of Jia Yan's actions at this time. This galaxy-level master actually used his game character to spot a moment of chaos in the subspace, and emerged from the relatively normal twisted hole in the subspace. This is such a terrifying eyesight, and what a terrifying ability to observe subspace. That is indeed a galaxy-level existence. Oh, now it's confirmed. The opponent is a top-notch strong man, and he is also a person who has great admiration in the subspace. We really can't afford to offend him. In the game's operation area, near the artificial sun, several star-level creatures silently observed this scene, and then they couldn't help but smile bitterly. They have long known that Jia Yan is a top powerhouse, and he is a top powerhouse that they cannot afford to offend, but they are still a little unwilling to let Jia Yan enter their game so easily, and then break the rules. Even if the game is over in the future, they still want to contribute some property, which makes them feel unhappy. But now they saw that this top being actually had a stronger subspace talent than they had imagined, and they immediately did not dare to say anything more. A powerful subspace talent exists in this starry sky, which is also heart-stopping. Even though there are more subspace talent creatures here, there are still relatively few powerful ones among them. Often, each of such creatures they all have unimaginable escape and assassination abilities. It seems that I heard a few days ago that in a relatively distant star field, a creature that had just reached the middle level of the galaxy was actually chased by a domain lord himself and successfully escaped. He used subspace talent can escape, and I have to say that those with subspace talents really have an advantage. Huh? Are you serious? I have never heard of such a thing. If there is such a thing, I estimate that creatures with subspace talents will be more valued in this starry sky in the future. Haha, that kind of thing is still rare after all, not to mention that the being who successfully escaped is already at the middle level of the galaxy, and the gap between us is too big. Don't think about it, just think about it now. How will the senior who is also proficient in subspace talents cause trouble on our side? I hope he doesn't destroy all our signs. Each of these star-level creatures felt very depressed. This starry sky is more suitable for the survival and development of the strong, but with more strong people, the barriers between levels become more serious. Each level, even the distinction between strong and weak within the same level, is extremely harsh. They couldn't make a name for themselves in the world of powerful people, so they joined forces to create a business empire. Now at a glance, a galaxy-level senior has arrived. The game operation business that they thought was very influential is actually under the control of the other party. It is still so miserable and useless. It is better to continue to work hard to improve the actual situation. Woolen cloth. Of course, even if they think this way, they have no idea of giving up this game. Now, it is not certain whether the senior is here to cause damage or seize their business fruits. They are observing, not only observing the senior, the strength is also observing the true thoughts of the senior. Puff. The battleship piloted by Jia Yan's character rushed out of the subspace, startling the main spaceships of the 4 major civilizations. He's coming towards us, be careful. One of the civilization's main spaceships, when they saw the place where Jia Yan rushed out, panicked and conveyed various orders inside the spacecraft. Inside the battleship, the crew members, strong men, and robots coming and going were all running around. They were at their posts, waiting for the arrival of this powerful man. The artillery fire also lit up. Whoosh! Each of the 4 large spaceships is nearly 10 kilometers in size. Compared with the 1.5 kilometers in size that Earth civilization has only expanded to now, it is simply a giant. But now, every one of these behemoths is firing salvos of artillery fire at a small warship like Jia Yan, and there is even the light of the main gun. This means that Jia Yan is valued. Of course, even if they pay attention to it, it still depends on whether they really have the strength to stop Jia Yan, otherwise it will be useless to pay attention to it. Oh! All guns blazing. As soon as Jia Yan came out of the subspace, he understood that the opponent was launching a collective attack on him. He smiled slightly, with disdain in his heart. The salvos from these 4 spaceships were naturally not as dense as the salvos from thousands of warships, so he was not worried about being killed by concentrated fire. What's more, he has now passed through a spaceship, and the other 3 rat-throwing weapons simply don't dare to attack that spaceship because it would be a trap for his teammates. So he only had to face the attack from one spaceship. Of course, the gunfire from this spaceship is also terrifying. Puff! When the artillery fire from the concentrated fire, and even the light of the main gun, almost hit Jia Yan pushed his game character's body and let the battleship pounce forward. This pounce was how he faced the battleship's gunfire. Boom! A large amount of artillery fire hit the direction where he had just escaped from the subspace. But a shocking picture emerged. The battleship driven by Jia Yan seemed to be suddenly blurred, and then countless cannonballs and rays of light seemed to have passed through a piece of water, causing the external figure of the battleship to flash directly, but no impact at all. How can this be? The master of the opponent's spaceship was almost horrified. But before he could say anything more, the battleship driven by Jia Yan actually protruded around their spaceship. Don't be afraid, our battleship is surrounded by the protection of chaotic subspace. It is impossible for him to penetrate the shell of the battleship, even if he uses the subspace talent. This master almost used his own hypnotic roar to shout out to his subordinates. Is it? When he shouted like this, he suddenly heard a voice appear in his ear. The voice was sarcastic, and a bit mocking at the weak. Asshole, you actually laughed at me? I am a venerable after all. No, why can this guy hear me from so far away? The existence of this master made one feel angry at first, but then there was endless fear. Because the other party was able to pass through the layers of protection of the battleship and hear what he said, which was so shocking. But his shock did not make the other party stop taking action. The astonishing battleship suddenly penetrated the outer layer of the chaotic device closest to the spacecraft, and paused for a moment. Is this the so-called subspace disorder protection? It is a good method. With this machine, it is a bit difficult for me to use the game character to break into the spaceship in the subspace. As for using a battleship to collide with it in normal space, then even if you seek death, the other party's shell will not break even a little bit. Jia Yan did appreciate the opponent's tactics, and he did not do these things because he underestimated his subspace talent from the beginning. But for crushing in terms of strength, all the small means of Shiyuan are useless. Strength crushes everything. If the protection against subspace disorder that you think is effective, let me try it. Jia Yan smiled slightly, and then started to control the battleship. Boom! The battleship seemed to have really chosen to hit the enemy's spacecraft shell. Haha, this fool actually chose to bump into me. He is definitely going to die. What kind of brain does he have? I strongly doubt that he is not a strong person at all. How can a strong person be so stupid? That's right, ha ha ha, ha. Why, why is my body so weak? My body has no strength either. Could it be that Lord Master is dead? Impossible. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1951. It's impossible. He obviously hit him with a battleship. Why is it the Lord Master who died? I don't believe it. Inside the spaceship, every staff member was mocking Jia Yan's behavior, but then, they fell to the ground one by one. Then they discovered that all their game characters were going to die. There is only one reason, and that is that the Lord Master is dead. How can it be? In their last moments, none of them believed it in their hearts. But even if they didn't believe it, they still died directly one by one. When this group of enemies fell into quitting the game due to the death of the Master, and the game characters died. At the same time, about a quarter of the battleships in this battlefield, as well as the controlled battlefields, directly lost their personnel operations, and some the extremely fast warships even directly collided with other warships, causing a large number of casualties. What's going on? They killed a lot of people. It was Master Jia Yan who did it, ha ha ha. Master Jia Yan has killed another leader of civilization. It's simply amazing. How did you do it? These four major civilizations are all advanced civilizations or civilizations close to advanced civilizations. On this side, every game player in Earth civilization is overjoyed. Puff. Far outside the spaceship of one of the four major civilizations that had been killed, a vague shadow emerged from subspace. Then, the spacecraft went to the other side of the subspace and suddenly crashed into it. He pointed at the main civilization spacecraft in another place. He's here. He's here. How on earth did he do it? If we don't understand this, we may have to follow in his footsteps. In the main spaceship of that other civilization, the Master was going crazy. He couldn't understand at all how the other party managed to avoid the surrounding subspace chaos caused by the spacecraft in the subspace, accurately enter the subspace again, and hit the Master of the spacecraft. Of course, if he understands that the pilot of the battleship is actually a galaxy-level being, then he will never have the slightest suspicion, because anything a galaxy-level being does will not be worth anything to others. Astonished. In fact, Jia Yan was not as relaxed as he imagined just now. Even if he uses an extremely weak game character body, and it is not a clone, it is more complicated to control. It took a lot of effort when he crashed into the subspace just now. The chaotic machines around the enemy's spacecraft caused him a lot of trouble. Just now the warship wanted to break into the chaotic point in the subspace, and he was asked to use his true body to observe nearby, and he saw a relatively large chaotic defect, and then let the game character drive the battleship into it. In this way, with the help of his real body, if his clone cannot crash into the enemy's spaceship, then there is something wrong. Naturally, Jia Yan would not admit this kind of cheating. Today, he is still driving the battleship and slams it forward. Entering the subspace, the space folded, and in an instant, from the twisted space, he approached the other enemy's main spaceship that was escaping quickly. Oh, is this civilization the civilization of a sub-higher civilization that is weaker than the other three major civilizations? Haha, I don't need to check too much to deal with such a civilization, even if their disordered mechanism is not bad, but for me, it is even simpler. When the energy is insufficient, the missing point in the chaos can be easily grasped. Jia Yan smiled slightly, and then, without leaving the subspace, he rushed into the subspace where the battleship was located. The machine with its chaotic mechanism has no effect at all. Jia Yan basically broke into the area where the opponent's battleship command cabin was located, and then appeared in front of the Master. Boom! The battleship that crashed out of the subspace hit the enemy's Master's head, smashing his head to pieces. Then, the battleship that had just smashed into the head of the ruler accurately plunged into the subspace before the surrounding commanding players could react. This whole process did not last even tenths of a second. It was extremely amazing subspace control capabilities. Ah, Lord Master. Asshole, I told you not to participate in this operation. How can a small civilization like ours win? My family still has a loan, and I hope that this game can make up for it. It's over, it's over. I have to quit the game without making any money. Inside the spacecraft, there were bursts of screams, and then the screams turned into the last cry of grief that came to an abrupt end. Less than half an hour had passed since the war started, and the two major civilizations collapsed in an instant. Half of the seemingly terrifying 60,000-strong army turned into ice-cold machines that could not move. How is this possible? Oh my God, what is the origin of that strong driver? It's definitely not an ordinary existence. His subspace sky has reached such a level of proficiency? No, I don't believe it. He must have taken advantage of some loophole in the game, because it's impossible for anyone to be able to use a weak character in the game. Use such terrifying subspace talent. The masters of the other two major civilizations were almost completely shocked. They didn't dare to fight anymore, or even dare to stop for a moment. They immediately issued the order to retreat and flew backwards. They're doing their best, with that terrifying one-man battleship. Create distance. Because this one battleship can rival 100,000 battleships. It is said that all its energy has been exhausted, but it has not even used up half of its energy. It has defeated the two major civilizations. Next, it is estimated that they will be killed. It doesn't use half the energy, which means that such a tactic is likely to have no effect at all. The biggest problem was that this powerful driver actually ignored the layers of space chaos they arranged. Even regular machines couldn't stop him. This made them helpless and speechless. It's not that they didn't resist with all their strength, but that the enemy's ability completely exceeded their full strength. This was simply despair. Run, run, run. On the other end, not only the main spaceships of the two major civilizations not far from Jiayan, but also the huge warships that still had the numerical advantage were in complete chaos at this moment. Each of them was escaping toward the spaceship. Because everyone knows that if they don't want to be like the two previous civilizations, where everyone has to accept the death of the game character, then they must protect their main spaceship. In the past, when their main spacecraft was strong enough, they all thought that their main spaceship was a strong point of support for artillery fire, and even the most reliable fortress. But now, they know that their own spaceship is nothing more than a baby with little resistance. It requires a group of ordinary warships like them to return to the defense to be able to protect it. Of course, this also has something to do with the characteristics of the enemy. With such a large battleship for him to kill, he would not be able to kill it all even if he used up his energy several times. However, it would be enough for him to kill the Lord Master in the spaceship several times, so he needs ordinary battleships to protect him. Let's rush over quickly. Even if we can't defeat that warship, at least every one of us has a subspace disorder mechanism. When we get close to the spaceship, everyone turns on the interspace disorder mechanism. It's absolutely impossible for him to use it again. The subspace talent killed our Lord Master. The pilots of these battleships all understood that the only way to prevent their own ships from perishing was to sacrifice human lives. They are also afraid that the game characters will die, but if they don't do it now, then the entire civilization will die, so they might as well give it a try. They're running away. Stop them. Behind the scenes, of the more than 1,000 warships of Earth civilization, there were less than 500 left at this time. However, these 500 survived the fierce enemy fire, and their combat effectiveness was considered good. Seeing these enemy troops who were as numerous as locusts, they ran back, and every battleship of the Earth civilization pursued them bravely. They all knew that the enemy now had no intention of paying attention to their small group of Earth battleships that looked like ants. Therefore, the feeling of chasing and killing is like target shooting. A large group of enemy ships are fleeing in front of them as if they are desperate. The battleships of the Earth civilization are like a small group of extremely terrifying devils, chasing them forward and losing their armor. Of course, this is not the case. The reason why this large group of warships fled was just because of the enemy warship farther away, but this warship was a nightmare in their hearts. Single-handedly, he destroyed 2 major civilizations and 30,000 battleships present. Now the remaining 30,000 warships are naturally frightened and want to turn around and take care of their mothership, otherwise they will definitely follow in the footsteps of the 2 previous civilizations. Before this war, no one thought about this possibility. Even though it would be tragic, everyone thought that they would definitely win this war. But in fact, in this battle between civilizations, it is this Earth civilization that, at least so far, has the greatest advantage, and the situation even seems to be one-sided. Hurry up, even if we can't win this war, we must survive. That's right, it doesn't matter even if some people die. If I catch up with him later, I will be the first to hit him. Even if we die, the civilization we have worked hard for several years will not become a historical joke. Yes, this is already our pride. If it is destroyed by just one person, it would be a great shame and humiliation. A game is a game. Everyone knows that they will not really die, so in this war, they will first take into account their reputation. Many players present were telling other real-life friends that they had played this large-scale real civilization game, and even their game processes were being broadcast live on many platforms. If someone caught them, their game would be broadcast live. If civilization is wiped out like this, real friends may laugh at it. So they absolutely don't allow it. Even if you can't play the game and die, you still have to protect your civilization. This is a sense of pride. For players who have played this game for many years, they have regarded their achievements in the game as their sense of honor in reality, especially for creatures living a normal life in reality. In this game, entering the matter of high-level civilization may even be the most proud event in their lives, so there is no way that they can easily let their civilization perish like this. I saw it, he's next to our main spaceship. Stop him, Puff. Countless battleship operators looked like their eyes were about to pop out of their heads. They completely ignored the pursuit of the remaining battleships of the Earth civilization behind them, and they did not care whether the battleships of the Earth civilization would laugh at them for retreating without a fight. The purpose is to catch up with his own civilized spaceship before the mysterious and powerful pilot uses his last move, and then protect the spaceship. But now, they watched helplessly as the opponent's warship suddenly flashed next to their own spaceship. They were really unwilling, but they had no choice. Tom. There was a small crashing sound inside the spacecraft. Well, I'm not willing to give in. I'm really unwilling. 7 years of hard work. Haha, I will never play games again in my life. Whatever this game is about, I am the strong one. Don't worry about the strong ones. This game is fair. But in the end, this is still a world of strong people. If a strong person comes randomly, we will still be slaughtered like this. Each and every battleship pilot seemed to be laughing miserably, and everyone felt stupid. In a world of strong people, in an era of strong people, what else do they want to find to avoid the strong? It's simply impossible. No, in what they think is a fair game, a strong person comes, and he is still the same as the strong people outside, and easily burns down their 7 years of hard work. Of the 30,000 battleships that were charging, half of them were completely silent as they charged towards them. The other half of the battleship pilots felt extremely uncomfortable in their hearts. Of the 60,000 strong army that came, now only a quarter of their 15,000 strong army remained. Although the numbers still seemed overwhelming, looking behind them, there was no sign of the 45,000-strong army. What else could they do with such an enemy? Forget it, isn't it just a game to find the bookstore? I give up. Isn't it okay for me to give up? Some of the battleship pilots were about to give up. They were desperate because the enemy in front of them, like a devil-like figure, was simply not something they could deal with. They also accepted their fate. It was their own fault that their own civilization provoked such a being. If they provoked such an enemy, they would have to bear the consequences themselves. The other part of the battleship pilots were still sprinting hard, and they were unwilling to give up. But even if they were unwilling to do so, their speed was still slow. The 4 previous spaceships were already far away from the battlefield because they were afraid of Jia Yan's charge and decapitation. In addition, they had now escaped for a certain distance. It would be difficult for warships at ordinary speeds to catch up with the escaping spaceships in a short period of time. And Jia Yan would not give them this time. Boom. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1952. For the last time, Jia Yan exhausted the energy of his battleship and crashed into subspace. Then, he flashed to the side of the last civilized main spacecraft. Ah! I don't wanna die. A large number of screams and exclamations came out like this, and then stopped abruptly like the people who died in the previous 3 major civilizations. Died. All dead. The 4 major advanced civilizations, 60,000 battleships, and 4 main civilization spaceships. Lord Jia Yan. Following a large number of enemy warships, the pilots of the Earth civilization warships were in a state of shock inside each one. Although they had thought about such an ending when Jia Yan killed a large number of enemy warships, they were still extremely shocked when this kind of victory was actually before their eyes. Really won. This is almost a battle in which one person defeated 4 major civilizations and a total of 60,000 warships. Master Jia Yan, so terrifying. Long live my lord. Ha ha ha, long live my lord. At this moment, the Earth civilization erupted into a thunderous roar. Of course, Jia Yan doesn't need so many weaklings to cheer him up. But as a member of this Earth civilization, he also felt a hint of joy in the game at this moment. After all, it is a game, and killing does not feel like killing anymore, but full of joyful atmosphere, not so much bloody smell, and not so much tragedy. Even those enemy players who cannot play the game may be annoyed offline. But that's part of the fun of the game. The 4 great civilizations were actually killed by us again, and 3 of them were high-level civilizations. Even if one of them was not at the level of high-level civilizations, they were almost there. This, our Earth civilization really has a chance to compete for this, the final overlord of the game. I'm overthinking it. Lord Jia Yan of our Earth civilization is rumored to be a half-star powerhouse. But there is a certain gap between a half-star powerhouse and a half-star powerhouse. What's more, the 2.5-star level civilizations have been playing games in this starry sky for many years. Their advantages are too great. How can they lose to us? The most they can do is give us a share of the pie. It's good to have a share of the pie. I'm afraid those 2 will feel the danger and come to cause trouble for us. That's right. The current situation is definitely that they are up to something. If they think that the existence of Earth civilization really threatens their convenience, they may join forces to deal with us. But it's not necessarily true. Someone may come to win over you. After all, our civilization on Earth has also shown its fighting capacity. In the Earth civilization, the players are talking about it one by one. Even Jia Yan, who was inside the subspace, was a little surprised when he heard many ordinary players talking. He didn't expect that ordinary creatures actually have many strategies in their brains, but they just don't have the occasion to use them. But they are right. Those 2 so-called half-star adults, haha, will they come to cause trouble for me? Jia Yan looked at somewhere in the starry sky. In that place, there were several warships observing the war situation. They panicked and fled into the distance. Humph, you actually want to use other civilizations to attack our Earth civilization. These two civilizations, and the so-called semi-star powerhouses in those two civilizations, are really a bit excessive. Jia Yan looked at the starry sky in the distance with a sneer. At a certain location, he felt the aura of a semi-star powerhouse that was released in a flash. Of course, this was just the aura of a semi-star power released through the character of the game player. The aura of a strong man and the real strength of the game character are far less than half-star level. I guess the other party didn't expect that there would be people here who could detect his movements even though he was just investigating hundreds of millions of kilometers away. Since these two guys want to end the game so quickly, I'll let the game end. Jia Yan thought calmly. However, Jia Yan's ideas have not been fulfilled. 5 days after the Earth civilization majestically wiped out the 4 high-level civilizations, a small etiquette group arrived at the Earth civilization and was happily accepting supplies of this starry sky. Earth civilization, after this battle, no longer hides, but directly accepts its spoils in normal space. The surrounding civilizations who were looking for Earth civilization were no longer excited at all when they saw Earth civilization again, but felt panic. After all, this Earth civilization is simply too terrifying. It actually wiped out 4 major civilizations, including 3 advanced civilizations, in one battle. You know, this is the ratio of the number of people on both sides of the battle, reaching more than 1,000, but this Earth civilization can actually win. Although everyone understands that only one person wins, and the Earth civilization only relies on the performance of one strong person, they know that no matter how the Earth civilization wins, in short, the current Earth civilization is no longer what they originally thought. So weak. At least now, even if they attack in groups, they may not be able to win. So no one dared to use force. On the contrary, a courtesy group arrived. Want to meet our Lord Master, or the powerful Lord who drives the battleship? Tell me your identities. Bold, we are semi-star level strong men, subordinates of Mr. Lily. How dare you show us shame? In reality, do you believe that we could beat up a weakling like you with one punch? When the people from the etiquette group arrived at the location of Earth civilization, they were surrounded by a group of Earth civilization battleship pilots. They didn't dare to use force, but they didn't think they were weak. Instead, they were very arrogant. Puff. Just when the scolding game player wanted to continue to show off his power, a ray shot from a distance. The scolding player was shot through the head by this ray. Even if you were in reality, you couldn't blow my head off with one punch. The master who fired this ray spoke coldly. Lord Jia Yan. When the players of Earth civilization turned around and looked around, they saw coming from behind. It was the battleship driven by Jia Yan, which was regarded as a totem by all living beings of Earth civilization. Is this the powerful pilot? Master Jia Yan, a semi-star level existence. In the etiquette group, a creature with true strength and a venerable level looked deeply at the approaching battleship over there, with a hint of fear in his eyes. He didn't even dare to mention the dead member of the etiquette group, so he quickly bowed his head in worship. I have met Master Jia Yan. Recently, Master Jia Yan has been sweeping thousands of troops in our game. Everyone is extremely shocked by Master Jia Yan's strength. Today we saw that Master Jia Yan's strength is indeed well deserved. This venerable level creature is very discerning. Through the ray Jia Yan shot just now, he knew that the other party was not someone he could provoke. Okay, which etiquette group are you from? Why are you here to see me? Jia Yan responded to him lightly. Master Jia Yan, we are the etiquette group of Master Liliu. Although you are a strong man, my master is also a powerful being. We, the master, do not want our two strong men to start a war, so they want to send me to wait for you. Discussing matters of peace. I don't know, sir. This venerable level existence immediately expressed his general thoughts, and then waited for Jia Yan to connect them to the Earth civilization. After all, we are a courtesy group and we don't want to talk about things in public. Ha ha ha, your master is also a pretty strong person. Jia Yan was riding on the battleship, and the game player's appearance resembled that of the Earth, and he kept laughing. It was like hearing some funny joke. Yes, sir, although you are at the semi-star level, my Lord Lily is also at the half-star level, and his status in reality is not low. Sir Jia Yan. Puff. Another ray shot from far away in the sky. In order to express his sincerity, this venerable level creature flies in the universe. Although this is a character in the game, his character is already a level 30 player, and he also has the strength of a high-level heaven-level player. So he can fly in the universe. But this became the reason why he was easily killed by the battleship. A ray of light, like a soul-stealing ghost, instantly hit the head of this venerable level creature. An instant later, this venerable level creature fell into death. Of course, it was his game character who died. This, sir, you have gone too far. When the two armies are fighting, you will not kill the envoy. You actually do not follow this basic morality. Puff. Another ray killed another talkative guest from the etiquette group in one breath. Suddenly, the remaining members of the etiquette group fell silent, and no one dared to speak anymore. You didn't have a formal note or communicate with us. You just said what you said. It's ridiculous. Besides, do I need to care about you, a civilized envoy? The rest of you, go away and go back and tell that Lily, tell him not to come and play with the etiquette group, and don't try to play with checks and balances. If you have the ability, the two families will join forces to attack our Earth when AI, and we will all join in. Jia Yan's lazy words sounded extremely domineering coming from the battleship. Well. At this time, not only the players in the etiquette group were feeling horrified, but also the players from the Earth civilization present were also a little horrified. The remaining etiquette players naturally did not dare to say anything and quickly retreated in dejection. Although the lives of the game characters are not valuable, they have invested a lot of energy in this game, how could they not care? Besides, they had to live and go back to report to their master Lily, and they had to tell the truth in a more jealous way, otherwise it would be difficult to understand the hatred in their hearts. Sir, isn't it a bit, for you to offend a messenger from a half-star existence like this? A captain came to the side of the battleship that Jia Yan was riding on and said something submissive. This Lord Jia Yan has become more and more prestigious recently, and they all dare not approach him. After all, this person has shown several miracles, and they are even more and more uncertain about Jia Yan's actual strength. But even if he wasn't sure, the captain still felt that in this game, we should at least respect the two original overlords. Even if there is any conflict with these two in the future, after all, there is still no head-on battle between the two sides. It is better to introduce the development of Earth civilization for a while. A half-star creature? No problem, let them come. Jia Yan waved his hand, and then continued to return to the main spacecraft of the Earth civilization to improve its capabilities. Of course, it was said that his abilities were improved, but in fact, he was using the energy in this game to restore his physical strength. Very good. The mutation process of my body is almost complete. After this energy reaches a certain amount, there is actually a good qualitative change. It seems that this trip is not without gain, at least in this way, I only need to ask about the formula of this energy, or the source, and then I will have the direction to improve my strength in the future. Jia Yan was inside the subspace, full of joy. After all, the four major civilizations were wiped out in one fell swoop this time, and the energy they captured was extremely astonishing. As for what happened just now, to Jia Yan, it was no different than farting. After all, he is a galaxy-level being. For a star and a half-star? Just sweep it away, not to mention that Jia Yan originally wanted to speed up the end of this game trip. If he didn't find some reason to start a war, he would be embarrassed to fight with others. In short, he just used some tricks to tell the so-called etiquette group to go back. Otherwise, he would not have the energy to talk to such weak people and do tricks. When they react, if they want to start a war, or even join forces to attack, it is not a bad thing for me. At least now, my strength has recovered a lot, and there are many ways to help win this game character. Yes, at worst I will do some cheating that others cannot see. Anyway, I feel that after the game is over, I will also have some disagreements with the operator of this game, so why not make some preparations now? Jia Yan smiled slightly. Yes, he had already thought about it and was preparing to have some questions with the operators of the game, those star-level beings, after the game was over. Not only is it the source of energy, but there are also some trade secrets that Jia Yan wants to ask about. If he gets these technologies, Jia Yan feels that it will be helpful not only to himself, but also to the Orion arm and the Earth. While Jia Yan was waiting, he quickly transformed the energy into his own mutant power. In fact, he waited until now to gradually reveal his fangs. In fact, there was a big reason. It was because his body was gradually recovering. As long as he did the last stroke, he would have the energy to escape in the Aditha. Even if he provokes the domain master creature, he is not afraid, so his courage gradually grows. Before, it was because I was not in good health, so I naturally turned against rats. Originally, Jia Yan thought that he would wait until the semi-star level beings would either arrive in anger or send some more envoys. Ken. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1953. What he didn't expect was that Jia Yan actually waited for news from within the Earth civilization. Sir, please make the decision for us. Me, my good friend in the game is actually my good friend in real life. Yesterday, he was suddenly attacked in reality. The other party said it was the 2.5 stars. Your Majesty's subordinates, they killed my friend. They originally wanted to kill me, but I denied that I was from the Earth civilization, so they didn't kill us. Mr. Jia Yan, they actually killed us while playing games. In reality, they also said that in our star field, if someone hears that someone is a player of the Earth civilization, they will end up like that. If you don't want to end up with that end, you have to withdraw from the Earth civilization. They are too overbearing. Please sir, make the decision for us. On this day, a game player suddenly came to Jia Yan crying. Huh? Did he come to the real world to cause trouble for you? And even killed a player from the Earth civilization. Although Jia Yan is still in seclusion, he can still make his game character think a little bit, and this little bit of thinking surpasses the thinking ability of most strong people. So his eyes suddenly turned cold, and the Earthling body sat up from the spaceship training room of the Earth civilization. When he opened the door, he saw a shivering, almost silent game character outside. Seeing that Jia Yan actually paid attention to him, the game character player immediately knelt down with a pop. Sir, please make the decision for my brother. He died miserably. Don't cry. There's no point in crying. Please tell me in detail. Jia Yan's eyes flashed with an exquisite light. It's like this. That friend and I graduated from a certain college together. This year, he asked me to play this game together. Unexpectedly, we were selected by our great Earth civilization together. Then, we both gained a lot of money, and even bought a house one after another. This player told a story about him and his friend. The relationship between the two people is very simple. They are the kind of childhood acquaintances that are found in many civilizations. Originally, this Earth civilization event would bring good gains to both creatures, and then their lives would be better. But the problem is that the player who was killed was a member of the Earth civilization, and he was too high profile. On social media, he boasted that he was a member of the Earth civilization. Then, those few who claimed to be His Excellency Lily's subordinates, he rushed to their home and killed him, and almost killed the player in front of him who came to ask for help. "Oh, they killed your friend but let you go." Jia Yan's eyes first flashed with suspicion. It's just that the guy in front of him was so scared that he almost lost his mind. He shouldn't be able to deceive Jia Yan. In front of a super strong person, it is almost impossible for a weak person to deceive the strong person. So is it possible that some kind of enemy of Liliu deliberately killed his rival players in the game and set a trap for Liliu? After thinking about it, Jia Yan decided to abandon this idea. Humph, that's good. I'm still worried that there is no reason to come to your door. No matter if it's a trap set by others or not, you have always affected the players of our Earth civilization. Even if you are just a player in the game, after all he is a person under my protection, Jia Yan. If you kill him, this is a bit excessive. Jia Yan sneered. He happened to be thinking about a question recently, that is, this game is infinite and far away. Why are so many players able to connect together in some way? If there is such a connection, can players be severely injured or even killed through such a connection? This is what Jia Yan was thinking about, and he actually saw something about it. He even thought about whether such research results could become some kind of trump card for him in the future. So deep down in his heart, he didn't really want to take revenge for his subordinates in this game, but because he wanted to try something. That half-star just happened to fall into his fancy. Why is he only a half-star? A big shot in the eyes of others, but to Jia Yan, he is just an important little ant. Lord Master, I suggest that our spaceship approach this so-called neat jurisdiction area. The revenge of brothers must be avenged. Jia Yan suggested calmly to the master who was controlling Edisha in the distance. In fact, necessary respect for the ruler is still indispensable. This is the rule in the game. After all, when the ruler dies, the entire civilization is over. The original design of this game was to let the rulers design to get the maximum gaming experience because they are the players who invest the most money. Okay. All members of Earth civilization, listen, brothers in civilization are actually being attacked in reality. I will not be a human being unless I take revenge. Of course, Edisha would not refute Jia Yan's decision, so she turned around and shouted directly at the members of the entire Earth civilization. At this moment, all the players in the entire Earth civilization are worried about this death, especially the players who live in the starry sky near the dead player. They are almost so scared that they want to move their families. After all, they have offended a half-star. Although half-stars are not too scary creatures in this starry sky, they definitely have some authority. If they are killed, no one will stand up for them. But now, the Lord Jia Yan of the Earth civilization and the Lord Master have spoken out and want to stand up for them. This makes each of these players feel very reassured. But a game is still a game, and they still decided that they must keep it a secret when playing this game, especially if they are members of the Earth civilization. Regarding the thoughts of ordinary creatures, Jia Yan doesn't want to understand at all. The strong are the strong. At his level, when playing such a game, he can have a lot of contact with such weak people. It is difficult to contact him at ordinary times. Or in other words, even if you come into contact, you will never pay too much attention to it. So even if he was helping the players get revenge, Jia Yan was still calm and did not care about their life or death. Even if the so-called semi-star powerhouse is still hunting down the players of the Earth civilization in reality, he won't care too much. Of course, Fu had betrayed his reputation, and when Jia Yan came to kill him, he would definitely have to settle the accounts. Now it's time to take your time. Earth civilization has begun. But inexplicably, the materials that were originally collected in large quantities by civilization and had not had time to be converted into civilization resources were like being swallowed by an invisible whale, and almost no one knew where they went. Of course, this is almost no one, excluding Jia Yan and Aidisha. The little energy was directly swallowed by Jia Yan. He became increasingly blatant. Because there is too much energy, Jia Yan would feel sorry for himself if he didn't take some of it for himself. The more intensive use of the game materials and energy here, and the more advanced civilization energy in the game, the better. I am looking forward to seeing how rich the rewards will be for the civilizations controlled by the two so-called semi-star powerhouses. Jia Yan is looking forward to the return of those 2.5-star civilizations. Of course, at this time, the Earth civilization, even if it has not swallowed up too much energy, has still made great progress, and the strength of many players has been improved. Especially those whose true identities have reached the high level of heaven. The strength of the game characters they control, under Jia Yan's generous strokes, each has been upgraded to heaven level strength of level 15 or above. As for reaching the full level of 30, it takes time, and it is absolutely impossible for a creature that has not reached the venerable level to control the high level strength of the character. Therefore, in this Earth civilization, there is only one creatures with venerable level strength can upgrade game characters to high level heavenly levels, which is the full level of 30. Lord Jia Yan, are you going straight to Huanglong? Are you looking for those 2 half-star powerhouses? Our civilization here only has the strength of a noble like me, and these 2 civilizations, even if they haven't shown their full strength yet, it's possible to reach more than 5 or even 10 venerable levels. The venerable master of strength in the Earth civilization had a frightened look on his face. I originally thought that he was here to play a game. With his venerable level strength, he would definitely show off his power in the game, but he didn't expect that he would still be here just like in reality, to watch gods fight. Especially the Lord Jia Yan of his own Earth civilization gave him a strange feeling that certain words were stuck in his throat but he couldn't say them out. Because saying this would make everyone, including himself, feel incredible. What he wants to say is that Master Jia Yan is probably not just a half-star level creature. After all, as a venerable level creature, he no longer feels so lofty and doesn't understand anything about half-star level creatures. At least half-star creatures are not as mysterious as Master Jia Yan. But he dared not say this, because if he guessed wrong and Master Jia Yan was embarrassed and even punished him, he would be looking for trouble. Lord Jia Yan, dare to look for those 2 half-star level existences. This proves my thoughts. At least it shows that Lord Jia Yan is either a top-level existence in the half-star level and is not afraid of others. Half-star level, or does it mean that Lord Jia Yan may be a strong man exceeding half-star level? This venerable creature has been thinking about similar problems when the Earth civilization is charging towards a neat civilization. As for the entire Earth civilization, it has been making rapid progress during this period. After all, there is still so much energy that has not been digested. It is not only necessary to improve the strength of its own battleships, but also to improve the strength of game characters for a large number of players. And during this time, quickly recruit or create a large number of new players. Wow, haha, you actually picked me, the civilization of the Earth. Oh yeah, I was reading a post about Earth civilization recently, and I got it. It's great. I can witness the Earth civilization with my own eyes. Who is Master Jia Yan? Hey, what are you doing? It seems like there are clouds of war gathering. Oh my god, are you ready to directly attack the civilization of a half-star powerhouse? Earth civilization is so brave. I just entered the game, and I don't want to die like this. Players in Earth civilization make a lot of money, so I don't want to. A large number of new players who have just been born are no strangers to Earth civilization. They have seen the deeds of Earth civilization in the outside world, and then tried to apply for a new player role of Earth civilization. Unexpectedly, among them some are selected to become new players, and for them it is like winning the lottery. But before their joy could subside, they immediately knew that Earth civilization, a civilization with good prospects, had actually chosen the most difficult road at this time, rushing directly into the game. One of the two most powerful enemies is Lily civilization. Each of them felt that the decision makers of the Earth civilization were stupid. Because compared with civilizations ruled by half-star existences, the gap between Earth civilizations is too obvious. Although the civilization of the Earth has been making rapid progress, anyone with a discerning eye will know that the civilization relies on only one person, and that is the mysterious and powerful man known as Lord Jia Yan. Many people are speculating that this Lord Jia Yan should also be a terrifying and powerful man who has reached the semi-star level. Otherwise, Lord Jia Yan would not have been able to single-handedly lead the Earth civilization to the point where it was almost equivalent to 2.5-star level civilizations. But in fact, Earth civilization is still weak. The strongest point of the entire civilization is the so-called Master Jia Yan. If he is really a half-star, then the enemy is also half-star. To start with, even if Lord Jia Yan is a person with subdimensional talent, but the talent difference between the strong and the strong is not that big. In the half-constant relationship between Lord Jia Yan and the opponent, when the Star Lords fight, it is very likely that the rulers of Earth civilization will be killed by other subordinate battleships or venerable level beings. What's more, even if the semi-star level beings don't want to fight Master Jia Yan, they send several venerable level creatures to drive battleships to fight Master Jia Yan. They probably won't lose for a while. Taking advantage of this time, the Earth, the civilization's main spaceship, including its master, will still be killed. Therefore, the civilization on Earth is simply looking for death. I thought of coming to Earth civilization to make a fortune, but I didn't expect that I would die with this civilization as soon as I came. Whatever, it's just a game anyway. What if it succeeds? Then we will get huge benefits as soon as we come. It's just a game. Who's not passionate about it? Hurry up and join the training. New players one after another are actually open-minded enough that Earth civilization can choose them. Most people are fans of the game, so being able to enter is a precious opportunity. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1954. You can't just do nothing and let precious gaming opportunities slip away, right? So they quickly joined in the training and battle competition. The number of people on Earth civilization has increased from about 10,000 before to 30,000 in an instant. The spaceship has also been expanded more than twice recently, but it is still overcrowded. Players were almost even arranged to stay near Jia Yan's quiet training room. Fortunately, with a wave of her hand, Edisha built a residential space. Large battleships, this solved the problem. Master Jia Yan, when we were approaching Nalalai, he seemed to have heard our news. He didn't hide and came closer. Oh! You are so brave. Do you think you are equal to me? I am a galaxy-level existence, and I am really underestimated. The semi-stellar creatures over there seem to have accepted the provocation of the Earth civilization and actively come to the Earth civilization. To the enemy, it may be a sign that they are not afraid, or even accept the idea of a fair war. But to Jia Yan here, it was like the enemy didn't take such a majestic galaxy-level being in their eyes, which made the strong man unhappy. Not to mention that Jia Yan has the arrogance of a strong man. This is something that every strong man has. Otherwise, if he slowly becomes stronger for so long and reaches the galaxy level, he will still be looked down upon by a mere half-star level. How can he live like a galaxy? A super existence is too weak, so it is better not to become stronger. Maybe that half-star level being has never thought about it? Jia Yan is a more terrifying being than a half-star level being. Perhaps for him, the strongest upper limit for a creature playing games is half-star level. Well, his status in these games is like that of a galaxy-level existence, which is how he feels in reality, so he feels that if other strong people come to attack him, he will be able to be on an equal footing with them. Therefore, this strong man really never thought that Jia Yan would be a more powerful being than him. Is the Earth civilized? I haven't had a showdown with that guy yet, and such an interesting civilization has appeared. Since they take the initiative to challenge our Lily civilization, I am not afraid of their existence, so I will accept it. It's a good challenge. 1 or 200 million kilometers away, Lily civilization, the civilization that Earth civilization is preparing to provoke, is also the civilization that kills Earth civilization players in the outside world. No one is really afraid of Earth civilization at this time. The other civilizations that had previously fought against the Earth civilization all did so because the Earth civilization had a very powerful person, so they were afraid to start a war with the Earth civilization. But the Lilio civilization is different. They think that they have nothing to lose in terms of strong ones. What's more, they are still one of the two top civilizations in the game. Even if they don't count the half-star Liliu, they still have a lot of them. The Venerable level uses high-level existences at the heaven level as its thugs. They were not afraid at all. They were even very happy because they thought that they would have less time to find the Earth civilization because of its proactive approach. At least judging from the clear cards, Earth civilization is far from this neat civilization. Master Jia Yan, the joint fighting method you taught us last time was indeed extremely powerful. That's right, it took us 5 full days to master the basics of it. It's so powerful. The person who invented this method must be a supremely powerful person. On this day, a large group of experts from Earth civilization gathered outside the door of Jia Yan's character's room. What they said made Jia Yan slightly surprised. Because the joint fighting method mentioned by these ordinary creatures is actually Jia Yan's Yin and Yang Dao joint fighting method. What he taught these players of Earth civilization was only superficial, but even it was still much better than the tactics used in ordinary armies. The problem is that these players learned it in only 5 days, which seems to be a strange story to Jia Yan. On the Earth and Orion arm side, whether it is a more talented army or a small team, if you want to master the joint warfare method, you must first learn Yin and Yang Dao, so that you can quickly master the joint warfare method of Yin and Yang Dao. But many of the players here have just entered the game, and Jia Yan has no reason to teach Yin and Yang Tao to people in this starry sky. Of course, if they want to learn, for the sake of the development and growth of Yin and Yang Tao, Jia Yan has no reason to do so. Just refuse to teach at all. But the problem is, they really didn't learn. Without learning the basics of Onmyado, it took only 5 days for many people to learn the secret of joint warfare. Is it because I have been strong for too long and don't understand that the talents of weak people are actually good? Jia Yan himself wasn't sure what the talents of the weak should be, so he didn't know whether the time it took for this group of players to learn the joint strategy was too fast, and he didn't know whether they were above the level or not. Wrong. He suddenly looked back and felt that compared to even the geniuses on the Orion arm, the cultivation speed of these players was much faster. This should be the reason why in this area, which is close to the central area of the galaxy, the talents of ordinary creatures are much more powerful than those in the Orion arm. Of course, there is also a reason for this. It is the battleship pilot I chose. In fact, they are all strong men with good actual combat effectiveness. Many of the battleship pilots Jia Yan picked out were of good strength. There was even one who, he himself did not want to say it, probably because he wanted to enjoy the existence of the game. He had reached the peak of the Venerable, only half a star away from it. A step far. Comparing these beings with the ordinary strong men in the Orion arm who are generally not at the level of Venerables, the performance here is naturally much better. However, the difference in talents between regions is still huge. Otherwise, there would not be so many powerful people in this area far away from the central area of the galaxy. Even the galaxy level and even the domain lords are better than those in the Orion Arm area. Much more. Looking at it this way, it's not that I can't teach the basics of Onmyeto. Of course, I won't teach the more advanced ones. I need to teach the shallower ones, and then let them go to the outside world to search for my information, or go to the Orion Arm. Or go to some places where I have taught profound yin and yang dao to study, haha, otherwise, who would cherish something that is too easy to obtain? Jia Yan thought for a long time and decided to teach himself the basics of yin and yang tao in this area. Very good, you have actually learned my tactics. Now, I will teach you some other things. This place will not be of any help in this war, or even in the entire game. But please remember one thing, that is, what I will teach you next, including the tactics I taught you before, are all things you can use in reality, and I hope you can do it well. Jia Yan said this calmly to the battleship pilots who gathered outside his training room. Especially the presence of the venerable peak, he looked at it twice with a smile but not a smile. The supreme creature who wanted to conceal his strength suddenly felt Jia Yan's gaze, and then thought that Jia Yan had seen through his specific strength. This is not surprising. After all, he has already concluded from other people's mouths or through his own observations that Jia Yan is probably a half-star level existence. Although he is only not far away from half-star level, it is comparable to him. To be strong is to be stronger than him. Even if he is using a character in the game, it is not something that surprises him too much if a strong person sees his true strength. But Jia Yan didn't point out anything, as if he didn't see through him. Come on, I will teach you these novel things. If you have suitable candidates in the future, you will teach them these things. Of course, you cannot teach them to people who are too evil. If I know that there are evil people who have learned my tactics or kung fu, I will personally take action and kill him, do you understand? Understood. Hearing this, he was going to teach everyone a good technique. All the pilots looked happy for a while. Of course, everyone listened to Jia Yan's words, and they generally would not do anything like being a villain. Besides, being able to be regarded as a great villain by a strong person with at least half-star level is probably not a small role. A great villain at the venerable level would have to do something huge to cause the attention of a half-star strong person. As for the weaker existence, even if it kills people, it is estimated that the half-star level person will not pay more attention to it. So although they listened to what Jia Yan said, no one paid much attention to it. The techniques taught here may just be something people talk about casually. They are not good things. Even if they are good things, how can creatures like them learn it so easily? But when most of the battleship students began to learn the basics of Jia Yan's yin and yang dao, they immediately felt the difference in this yin and yang dao. Hey, I actually learned the intersection of two powers, and then used this positive and negative power to create two powers in my body, the power of explosion. No way, there is such a skill in the world, how powerful it must be in combat. This is really a top-notch skill. Lord Jia Yan, you actually taught it to us like this. Every one of the talented pilots in the entire Earth civilization was shocked. They were not shocked that Master Jia Yan had good skills, but they were shocked that Master Jia Yan actually handed over such a good skill to them. Even this technique, which is a different approach, does not feel like an ordinary cosmic powerhouse technique, as if it is divorced from the current system. Only the presence of that venerable person at the top seemed to be even greater than the shock of others. This and this are definitely not the exercises of the powerful people in our universe. They are completely separated from the ordinary exercises. This is another system. This supreme being was originally stuck at the supreme level. Over the past 10 or 20 years, he has not been able to advance to the semi-star level. Now he has only entered the game because he was upset and unable to advance. I want to have fun here and see if I can find the enlightenment of entering the semi-star level after relaxing. But what he never expected was that he would encounter such a terrifying and powerful person in this game that he had no hope for. He had been doubting whether Master Jia Yan was really half-star. There was no other reason. Anyway, he couldn't see how strong Lord Jia Yan was, but he could feel that Lord Jia Yan seemed to be much more than a half-star. Now, the skills Master Jia Yan has used are faintly beyond the system of the strong men in the universe, which makes him feel even more suspicious about Master Jia Yan's identity. No matter what, I must learn this technique, and my talent is pretty good. What Mr. Jia Yan has come up with is definitely not enough for my promotion, so. This venerable pinnacle creature, after all the creature players left happily, made a circle alone, and then returned to the door of Jia Yan's practice room. Unexpectedly, Jia Yan seemed to have never left at all, and had been waiting for someone at the door of the training room. Master Jia Yan. When this venerable peak creature saw Jia Yan, he quickly saluted with great respect. You came. Jia Yan smiled slightly, as if he had known for a long time that he would wait for this venerable peak creature. Yes, Sir Jia Yan, I'm here. Sir, I understand everything clearly. This venerable pinnacle creature felt his heart beating wildly. If it was just a vague suspicion before, now he definitely understood that Master Jia Yan was definitely not a half-star creature. In other words, he is likely to encounter a star-level powerhouse, or even a powerful being among star-level powerhouses. Otherwise, how could it be possible to possess Yin and Yang Dao, such a shocking skill? Others don't know the goods, how can he, a supreme creature like him, not know the goods? Okay, I know why you're here. Come in and I'll teach you something. Whether you can use what I teach to break through the shackles of the venerable depends on your own destiny. Yes. Thank you for your advice, sir. Hearing Jia Yan's words, the Supreme Being almost cried with joy and quickly entered the training room with Jia Yan. He has completely determined that Jia Yan is definitely a terrifying existence. In fact, he has long recognized his peak biological strength. He just didn't say it, didn't point it out, and looked at him like he saw other weak players, which shows that a top-level creature is nothing to this Lord Jia Yan. If this isn't a top powerhouse, what is it? It took 3 days for this creature at the pinnacle of the Venerable to enter Jia Yan's training room. Master Jia Yan, we have detected traces of the enemy, are we ready to fight? On this day, Edisha sent a message to Jia Yan. Well, okay, let's fight. Jia Yan, who was as big as the earth in the training room, moved slightly. Opposite him, listening to Jia Yan's explanation of the creature at the top of the Supreme Being, he opened his eyes full of doubts. He listened to Jia Yan explain the practice for 3 days and answered his questions.